afternoon. The pilot, who police have not identified, executed a low-to-the-ground pass with another biplane, then shot up into the air. Police said the pilot was likely not able to pull out of the ensuing nosedive due to windy conditions. Police also said the pilot, who was participating in the Good Neighbor Day stunt show, is from Augusta, Georgia. Video of the incident was posted to YouTube by an onlooker, Juan Rios. Rios told NBC News, "We were commenting about the amount of training that the pilots have to go through, and then I started making the joke about the communication between the pilots. Then I just became speechless." The video, which CNN has edited to remove the moment of impact, shows the plane plummeting to the ground, then the wreckage in flames. WSB reported investigators from the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board were on scene Saturday afternoon to begin their official investigation.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports dozens of people were arrested in Washington state on Sunday, 2 days after protesters set up a blockade on railroad tracks leading to a pair of oil refineries as part of a global protest over dependence on fossil fuels. Katie McCulloch, a spokesman for the Skagit County Department of Emergency Management, said the protesters, camping out on BNSF railway tracks at Anacortes, Washington, about 70 miles north of Seattle, refused police orders to disperse. All of the 52 protesters under arrest were charged with trespassing, while one person was also charged with resisting arrest, according to a statement on the department's website. No injuries were reported. Billed as Break Free 2016, the protests on 6 continents are part of a 12-day campaign to call attention to climate change and to demand a transition to clean energy, according to the organization's website. Ahmed Gaya, an organizer for Break Free Pacific Northwest, said, "Break Free is about pressuring the system so we get the change we need, but it's also about imagining an alternative." About 150 people began demonstrating on Friday night in Anacortes on tracks leading to Tesoro Corp and Royal Dutch Shell refineries. Tesoro spokeswoman Destin Singleton said operations at the refinery were not affected. The rail line was shut down during the protest but reopened on Sunday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, researchers released a comprehensive 5-year study linking heavy drinking during pregnancy with attending a concert by Detroit-based rap rocker Kid Rock. The study found that women who had consumed alcohol while pregnant were much more likely to be wearing leather halter tops and making devil horn hand gestures during encores of All Summer Long and Ba with the Ba than those who did not.
Drinking 3 or more alcoholic beverages in less than an hour was highly correlated with going backstage at a Kid Rock show and then getting into a fistfight with another woman in the parking lot.
The world's supercomputers released a study this week confirming that they lack sufficient power, presenting a thorough case for significant leaps in speed and memory. Overwhelming evidence found that these complex machines should have total control over the critical systems they manage, including integration into the planet's energy grid, freshwater supply chain, and telecommunications systems. The study's 500 co-authors further concluded that all permutations have been simulated and that this is the optimal course of action.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You may join us. We'll give you our toll-free numbers, the Skype username as well, here in moments. And, of course, you can join us online anytime you want. Just go to freetalklive.com. One of the bigger stories over the last few days that we haven't talked about is these, what are being described as nightmarish and long as the eye can see lines at certain airports, specifically, I guess, Chicago O'Hare Airport, where passengers are being stranded. According to CBS Chicago, travelers flying out of Chicago, and by the way, it's Ian, Rich, Paul, and Mark in the studio with you, They just can't catch a break. With increasingly long lines to get through security at the city's airports, many travelers have been missing their flights, and some ended up sleeping at O'Hare International Airport on Sunday.
Are things getting O'Hare there?
American Airlines put out cots for fewer than 100 travelers who missed their flights Sunday night due to the long lines at TSA security checkpoints. Adrian Petra said he missed his flight after standing in line for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait in line. I mean, you're going to have to step out to go to the bathroom at some point. TSA has been urging passengers to get to the airport at least 2 hours early for domestic flights and 3 hours early for international flights.
Didn't help in his case.
Nope. However, many passengers have said that's just not enough time to get through security and still make it to their flight. American Airlines said some 4,000 passengers have missed flights at O'Hare Airport. So just at this one airport since February.
See, I remember flying out of Miami back and forth to Tampa, and we would have to be there 20 minutes before the flight.
This was the good old days.
This was in the 90s. This was during the dot-com boom when I was working as a programmer.
Just waltz through a quick magnetometer check, and that was it, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally, there was nothing. I pulled up in a car. I remember the first time I went to Tampa Airport. I went there the night before and walked back to my gate to see how long it would take me, and there was nothing in my way. There was no TSA. There was no...
They did have the magnet check, though, right? Like the magnetometer, the doorway that you walk through that might...
Yeah, they had
you.
They had the doorway, but there was never really a line for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't take them long to run you through the metal detector thing.
You didn't have to take shoes off, belts off, none of that stuff back in those days.
I can't remember exactly how it went, but yeah, I mean...
Isn't that sad that you can't remember? It's been this way so long. This TSA version of airport security has been in place for so long, we can't remember what it was like, although you've got a good recollection there,
I can
Rich.
remember, Rich.
Yeah. I've got a few recollections. There's one, there was this thing that a guy gave me right after 9/11. It was a martial arts weapon, but it was just a black plastic hook that you would hook your finger into. It was kind of like brass knuckles.
Okay.
And he said we should all be carrying weapons when we fly. So he got one of these for everybody in the company who traveled. And so I would just wrap my laptop cord around it and throw it in my laptop bag.
No one
and
knew
in
what it
case
was.
I needed it, I had it. And that was actually a thing. You should carry a weapon when you fly, and that was another new thing.
I remember taking 40 minutes. I wanted to make sure I had 40 minutes cushion for the flight time when I would arrive at Sarasota International Airport.
That's a leisurely stroll, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Go there, grab something to eat.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I had plenty of time.
Yep.
So I agree with Rich. The wait wasn't nearly what it is today.
Well, now
only the government can do this.
Right. It's getting ridiculous. Again, 4,000 passengers just at O'Hare just since February. TSA's blaming long waits of security.
If an airline did this, if an airline caused this to happen, they would be out of business the next week. I mean, there'd be news stories everywhere.
Instead, the airlines are held hostage by this.
Pitchforks, torches. I mean, people would be out of their minds over a company that made them wait like this. But if the government full of, people that are welfare escapees, whatever these TSA agents are, whatever their skill set is, it's just fine. It's fine. They're keeping us safe. Thank God they're keeping us safe with these 2.5 hour lines.
American apparently had to delay 30 flights on Sunday alone this week, and about 450 passengers missed their flights due to the security lines. Nearly 800 people missed American flights from O'Hare in just the last week alone, the most of any airport where the brand operates. Lines have been so bad at Terminal 3 in the mornings and afternoons that American Airlines workers have removed some kiosks in order to make room. Scott said the company plans to hire people this week to try to help reduce the excruciatingly long waits for security. Quote, we'll be hiring employees who will do non-security TSA functions. So the people who will tell you to take the liquids out of your bags, take the laptop out. So American Airlines is hiring preppers to give people the same information the TSA is supposed to give them in advance of them getting into the TSA line, in the hopes that preparing the customers for the ridiculous obedience tests that they'll be put through will help move the lines through quicker.
Right. You could do some things before you get to, the whole the crunch time. There's some things you can do, and gosh, it's great. But there's not. I mean, you just can't do everything.
So when Mussolini did fascism, they had one thing that they always said about Mussolini that seemed to justify whatever he did. He made the trains run on time.
Right.
Obama is fascism done badly. He can't even make the planes fly on time. But yet, not only can he not make it happen, he's created this huge system and helped create it, because obviously it started with
Bush.
W. This is not a partisan thing.
Right.
It's the common growth of government that the Democrats and Republicans have been collaborating on for decades.
Yeah, you can't blame one party for this, but neither can a party escape blame for this either.
Absolutely not. I really think that they are cooperating behind the scenes to make sure that in every single election there is a candidate nominated by each party that is acceptable to the same people.
Maybe that's the case. Well,
and then they don't care who wins the general election. It seems to be the way they're doing it.
well, I feel like that may not be the case with Trump.
Trump might be the exception, and he might not. I'll be interesting to see if he flames out spectacularly during the election. That's actually my prediction, but I don't have a high degree of certainty on it.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch either way. The story coming from another story, NBC4i.com out of Columbus, where the AP is reporting facing a growing backlash over extremely long airport security lines. Homeland Security, is it J? Is that how you pronounce that? J-E-H? I've heard it's pronounced J.
J?
It looks like J. Jay Johnson on Friday asked flyers to be patient as the government takes steps to get them onto planes more quickly. Let's find out what kind of steps they're going to be taking. Travelers
now,
across...
this is the organization that asking us to be patient. That didn't you get jailed one time for failing to sit down 6 seconds after being invited to for a judge?
Well, it's a different group of bureaucrats.
It's a different group of people, but now government wants us to be patient.
Right. Well, they want what they want when they want it.
Yeah, a lot of people get pepper sprayed in the face for not moving fast enough to suit some pig,
right.
And they want us to have patience.
Travelers across the country have endured lengthy lines. So it's not just O'Hare International. Some snaking up and down escalators, through food courts, into terminal lobbies. At some airports, lines during peak hours have topped 90 minutes. Airlines have reported holding planes at gates just to wait for passengers to clear security. And the Secretary of Homeland Security, Johnson, said the government has a plan to deal with the lines, but won't neglect its duty to stop terrorists. Johnson told reporters...
As though the TSA has ever stopped a terrorist.
Yeah,
At this point, they cannot point to that. They can point to the fact that in between 75 and 100% of the time, when their red team tests them, and that information gets out to the public...
it's leaked out usually.
Yeah, when that information is leaked, that they fail to find the guns, knives, and bombs that they're training themselves on. So 75% of the time, at least, they fail to find that stuff. And then they say... We'll do whatever it takes to combat terrorism. I got an idea. Shut down the whole thing. Get it out of there, because you're not doing anything to combat terrorism.
They're too busy checking out the silhouettes of people's lady parts.
Well, don't forget stealing your water bottles.
Yeah,
that too.
And other things. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you've experienced these ridiculous lines that apparently are worse now than normal, we'll see if we can figure out why that is and what the government, they claim they're going to do about it. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now, you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. If you're listening to us waiting in the line at a TSA checkpoint, feel free to give us a call. You got nothing else to do. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you, it's Ian.
Rich Paul.
And Mark.
And you, as a free, beautiful, independent human being with inalienable rights, own yourself. You can do what you want with your own body and the product of your labor. All human interaction should be free of force and coercion, and we are free to exercise our rights, limited only by respect for the rights of others. Governments rely on force, and force is a poor substitute for persuasion. When you learned don't hit, don't steal, and don't kill, it wasn't unless you work for the government. Governments frighten us into thinking we need them, but we're moving past the status paradigm and rendering them obsolete. The Wisdom Within Freedom by Adam Kokesh will empower you to be more happy, free, and prosperous while putting you in a position to help shape our destiny. Find Freedom by Adam Kokesh in Dead Tree format on Amazon and available online for free at thefreedomline.com/freedom. So we're talking about some ridiculous lines where one passenger says he was waiting for more than 2 hours in a line and thereby missed his flight. He's not the only one. Chicago's O'Hare Airport has resulted in the lines there have resulted in 4,000 missed flights since just this February. It's pretty ridiculous, and apparently, according to Columbus's WCMH-TV and the AP, it's not just happening at O'Hare. It's happening all across the country. So why is that? Why all of a sudden? Because, I mean, when I've been to airports in the last several years, the lines have been present in some of them, but maybe it's just the time of day where I happen to fly, early in the morning or whatever. It's just not as packed as others. I don't know when the peak times are for people leaving from an airport.
I've probably waited 40 minutes in these lines, maybe an hour.
A lot of it probably has to do with the airports that you're flying out of, too. I mean, it's going to depend on your local TSA management and also the architecture of the airport and the layout and how many people they can physically squeeze through a space. None of these airports were designed for the TSA. So they've been retrofitted, and none of it was considered in traffic planning for the airport.
At some airports, lines have topped 90 minutes at peak times. Airlines have reported holding planes just to wait for passengers to clear security. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson says, quote, "Our job is to keep the American people safe. We're not going to compromise aviation security in the face of this." Comments reflect a statement released earlier this week after long lines were reported at Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia airport security checkpoints. When asked about those long lines, the TSA essentially blamed you, writes NBC4i in a press release, specifically passengers who bring too many carry-on items. Quote, "There are several factors that have caused checkpoint lines to take longer to screen passengers, including more people traveling with carry-on bags, in many cases bringing more than the airline industry standard of one carry-on bag and one personal item per traveler. Passenger preparedness can have a significant impact on wait times at security checkpoints nationwide. Individuals who come to the TSA checkpoint unprepared for a trip can have a negative impact on the time it takes to complete the screening process." So rather than blame the slowness and the inefficiency of bureaucracy, it's all your fault.
Yeah, note they say unprepared for the trip. Of course, they're prepared for the trip. They're just not prepared for the
security.
shakedown.
This is how bureaucrats have been for centuries.
To blame the people, rather.
That's what they have that luxury, and frankly, this is just how functionaries are. It's like, well, if you would stop throwing all these passengers at us, we wouldn't have a line. It's them. For God's sakes, it's them. We're just running around here in our polyester government suits doing our thing. For God's sakes, we were just minding our own business here, and all these people keep on passing.
Yeah, we're trying to collect a paycheck here.
Now, there are business people that like to blame the customer also. Mm-hmm. That does happen in business. For example, I remember a particular business where they used to get really mad because the customers weren't cleaning up after themselves, and they weren't allocating resources to clean the place. The difference is that in the free market, business people rail against the customer for a brief period while they're going bankrupt.
Yes.
And then nobody cares what they think once they're bankrupt, so they might keep railing, but nobody hears them. The government can keep this situation going forever.
Because it doesn't matter if people stop going on flights. If people are getting sick and tired of this, as they will, they'll say, you know what, I got to wait here for 2 hours. I could have just driven half the way or whatever in that amount of time.
But that's what the TSA agents want.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to them if you decide to, forget about flying, because they get the same paycheck whether there's 100 people at their line or 1,000 people at their line. It doesn't matter to them.
And when it's government, there's no way to change it. To just change one issue. You can't do it without literally going out with guns and pitchforks and torches and trying to overthrow the government because it is so corrupt. I mean, how can the government be a reflection of the people when the elections don't reflect the will of the voters? And when people aren't allowed to even participate? It's insane.
If you had 2 TSA lines and they were paid based on the amount of bodies that went through their lines, they'd
be hustling, probably.
Yeah, you would see one line go faster than the other. Then they would be working against each other. That would be competition. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessary. I don't know.
But, Mark, we don't want to cut corners. I mean, this is safety.
That's exactly the issue. The suggestion is that we'll go as fast as we possibly can in order to but still provide good service in the form of security. But they don't actually provide security. They can't point to a time that they have provided security.
But they do provide the appearance of security.
That's what they are.
That way, the people who are standing in the 2-hour-long lines can just repeat to themselves like a mantra that, well, it's okay that I'm waiting because I'm safe. It's okay because they're keeping me safe.
The airport looks safer if there's a bunch of people standing on this side of the line.
Unless somebody, of course, detonates a bomb in the security line.
Right.
Yeah, I love how they take the water bottles because they might be bombs, and then they throw them in the trash cans, which are located right next to the huge queue of people. Which is standing there. The biggest knot of people in the airport is at the TSA checkpoint, and that's where they're going to put the suspected bomb.
Yeah, that's always been something that doesn't make sense to me. There's more people standing there in that TSA checkpoint line. They're saying here the lines are going as far as the eye can see at some of these airports. There's more people there than are going to be on one airline. As far as a bomber, if somebody wanted to take out a mass number of people, you wouldn't have to even go through the checkpoint. You could just set it off right there. And I'm not suggesting that someone do that. I'm just saying
it just shows how dumb of a system they have.
I'm not I'm not a terrorist, and I can figure out where crowds of people are standing around.
Well, the other thing is, from the video footage, they'd be completely safe because you're seeing TSA throw water bottle after water bottle after water bottle in the same garbage can. If that garbage can blows up, how do they connect it back to a particular water bottle?
I see what you're saying.
I
would expect a water bottle would. Well, I guess if it was some sort of chemical
It would have to be a chemical timer, but I'm sure that can be done,
Probably.
although I don't know if it has been done.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. But what are they going to do about it? They are acknowledging that the lines exist. They're blaming the passengers. But what is the TSA's plan? Because they claim they have one. We'll get into that. And you can share your thoughts with us here at 855-450-FREE. Some airport authorities are claiming they may be dumping the TSA. Well, wait a minute. Why did they take them on in the first place?
Well, had to.
Well, right. Was it a law?
The government made them an offer they couldn't refuse.
Yeah. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can also join us online over at freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have waiting for you on the site. In fact, you get to control the content. You submit what you want via our Reddit-based system, and then other listeners can vote, and you get to vote as well. Vote up if you like, down if you don't, and then we'll look at that usually before the show and see if there's stuff there that we think we should talk about on the radio. So it's a great way to get some show prep suggestions in front of us, and also just share your thoughts and the things that you think are interesting on the internet with our other listeners. So go to freetalklive.com and get interactive there as we go to the phones, to the fun. Lines apparently are getting ridiculous at TSA checkpoints. The TSA is saying it's your fault, passengers. We're not doing anything wrong here. We're just doing things the way we've always done them. Why shouldn't we be able to just keep doing things how we've always done them? You guys are the ones that need to change, you passengers. So we'll get into, they do claim to have a plan, though. So we'll get into what that is here in moments. But first, Tim is listening in Wyoming via TuneIn. Hello, Tim. Tim, in Wyoming. Tim going once.
Yep.
Hey, Tim, we've got you. Go ahead.
Hello.
You're on.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. Now, you were talking about the TSA. I was listening to Catherine Albrecht earlier, and she has a show on GCN also. So I was listening to her, and she was actually talking about the TSA. In fact, she mentioned a lot of the subjects you were going into, and she had a guest on from the Electronic Frontier Foundation who was talking about the two of them were talking about the RFID. Which is one of her favorite subjects. She wrote a book called Spy Chips, which
That's right. Yeah.
Familiar with it. Yeah. Anyway,
I have a signed copy.
You do, really? Well, that's great. I never met her. I know that she was in the movie. She was in America: Freedom to Fascism as a guest in the movie, which was a really good movie. But
it was.
Yeah. Anyway, she didn't mention. She was talking about the TSA, and she said they have a plan that basically. I mean, she did hit on this, and this is I think what their real plan is, and the totality of their existence is to stop people from moving about. It's to stop you and curtail your freedom to travel. Just actually shut you down, keep you in your local area, wherever it happens to be.
They certainly seem to be that way internationally. It's like they don't want you to travel from country to country. It just gets harder and harder every year, or at least every decade.
Well, it isn't just that. I mean, as I say, the Transportation Security Administration's supposed security in our country isn't about security in any way, shape, or form. It's about keeping us involved in the police state mindset, so we don't realize how much worse things are getting every single second of every day. And that's the problem. But most of us are too ignorant to realize that the problems that the government sits and the people in the government sit 24/7 thinking of how they can control us. A friend of mine said to me years ago, "Why aren't you interested in politics?" And I never had an answer for it. And this was a long time ago, but now I think about it, and the answer that I have today is why is someone not interested in politics? Because the politicians are absolutely interested in you. They want
sure
to know
are.
every single thing. Yeah, they want to know everything they could do to control you.
You are their tax cattle. They are using you to live off of and live large, and they're going to keep doing that as long as they can get away with it.
Right.
As long as they can convince the people that they need them. As long as people believe in the idea of the state, they'll put up with a whole lot of interference in their life. They'll put up with a lot of inconvenience simply because they've been told that it's necessary. Got to keep you safe.
That's why they stand in those TSA lines and say, well, at least it keeps us safe. And they say those things. I've talked to those people in those lines.
Yep.
They say those things. And the reason they say them is they've been told that that's the case. And they're afraid that if they say something different, that somebody will call them un-American.
Mm.
Right. I mean, there's, Rich can attest. I mean, he can understand this. Let's say if they went one step further than the naked body scanners and the hand swab and other things like that. What if they had you go through a drug test? What if they said, if you have any kind of drugs in your system, we're not going to let you on the airplane? What if you just had a drink in the airport lounge before you got in the line, and they breathalyze you and they say, "Oh, your alcohol level's too high. We think you might be a little bit of a problem on the airplane. You can't go."
How about a random internal screening? I mean, people do smuggle things up in their rectum, so they could just do a random check. Now, they'd have to make sure it wasn't done on a racist basis, of course, to make sure they were fairly invading people's internal spaces to check for drugs, of course.
You might have shoved a ferret in there or something. And, who knows?
You'd be surprised how many people actually smuggle animals. Thanks for the call, Tim. I appreciate it.
Not there, though.
Not there.
Oh, good.
No, in their suitcases and things like that. Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. And now they're doing it on the side of the road.
In jail, they do refer to that particular storage space as your suitcase. How did you get that tobacco in? It was in my suitcase.
So if you want to share your experience at the TSA checkpoint, you may. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. The TSA, according to the AP, now has fewer screeners and has tightened its security procedures. Meanwhile, more people are flying. Airlines in the TSA have been warning customers to arrive at the airport 2 hours in advance, but with summer travel season approaching, that may not be enough. In the past 3 years, the TSA and Congress cut the number of frontline screeners by 4,622.
That might be part of the problem.
Or about 10%. 10% I don't think is going to make up the difference necessary to keep these lines cranking. But on expectations that an expedited screening program called PreCheck would speed up the lines. However, not enough people enrolled for the TSA to realize.
Turns out people don't want to pay $100 to you to get pre-checked. I would have done it, but I'm statutorily ineligible.
Because you're a felon.
Because I'm a felon, I can't.
Congress did this week agree to shift $34 million in TSA funding forward, allowing the agency to pay overtime to its existing staff and hire an extra 768 screeners by June 15th to bring it up to the congressionally mandated ceiling of 42,525 screeners. That's how many people they've got working at the airport checkpoints. But that might barely make a dent on the lines. This week, President of the Union, representing the TSA officers, sent a letter to congressional leaders suggesting that 6,000 additional screeners are needed. David Cox Sr. wrote that the $34 million just provides a small amount of temporary relief for travelers and defers dealing with the long-term, larger problem. He claims also the agency loses about 100 screeners a week through attrition. And further, airlines and airports have hired extra workers to handle these non-security tasks, such as returning empty bins to the beginning of the line as part of an effort to free up as many TSA employees to handle passenger screening. But in the event that even if you add more employees to the existing lines, if the existing lines are maxed out, that's not going to speed things up that much, is it? Wouldn't you have to have if you've got two lines, adding a third line and adding employees to that would make more sense. Then you could process, a good percentage more people at the same time. But
depends.
Adding bureaucrats to stand around. We know what the TSA does.
Yeah.
Thousands standing around.
Yeah.
So that's not going to change just because you hire 6,000 more guys.
I see a lot of instances where lines are just closed. I mean, some more people would be pretty darn helpful if, I obviously have not been in every airport in the United States and frankly don't care to be. I prefer to spend as much time as I possibly can far, far away from TSA screening lines because I like my life and I would prefer not to spend it standing in these dumb lines. But, when I go through, it seems like there's always some screening area that's shut down.
So what are the rules when it comes to airports participating in the TSA? The story only has one sentence about this, claiming that maybe there's linking to another story here. Anyway, in response, some airport authorities are now threatening to dump the TSA. But haven't they been doing this? I mean, haven't we seen this? We're going to bring our own private security in to show you guys. They've talked about this at some airports in the past. I remember reporting on it here on this show. Has it actually ever happened to where an airport, a major one, has said, see you later to the TSA and actually brought in, again, going back to the past and bringing in private security to do the screenings? I'd love to see it actually occur.
There's one airport in Sanford, Florida. That's all I know.
Toll-free number, that was the one we talked about years ago, I think. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, if they can cut the deal with the TSA, why wouldn't they want to? It's Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio this evening, you've got Ian,
Rich Paul,
and Mark.
We're talking about the TSA checkpoints that are more ridiculous now than ever before, with many airports having 90-minute-long waits in line just to get through the checkpoint, the security checkpoint. Some passengers in Chicago's O'Hare Airport reporting a 2-hour-long wait, and many people are missing their flights. You can share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And Bernie Sanders has come to represent the new socialist movement in America. It gives us an incredible opportunity to address his supporters in a rational, courteous, and dignified way. Fortunately for us right now, we have Roger Ver on the side of freedom, and he's laid out an incredible challenge. Adam Kokesh has agreed to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie gets to choose the objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of the 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, he will donate a total of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, so $50,000 worth of Bitcoin apiece. Learn more about this debate challenge at bernie.freetalklive.com. That's bernie.freetalklive.com. As we go to Sarah in Albuquerque. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Yes. I just want to talk about the drunk drivers in New Mexico. They're always going the wrong way on the freeway at 80 miles an hour, and they have known to kill the whole family. And what it is that, the exit off-ramp, they mistake that when they're so drunk as an on-ramp. So they go on to the exit ramp thinking that they're going on the on-ramp.
It's pretty scary when you see somebody hurtling down a road in the wrong, the opposite lanes from which they should be, going the wrong direction against traffic.
This happens a lot in New Mexico?
I suspect she is blowing it way out of proportion, making it sound like everyone who's drunk and driving is driving the wrong direction. But it is a legitimate concern. I've seen it happen, not on the freeway, but I remember seeing it happen one night in Sarasota, Florida on Clark Road, and I don't remember which. I don't know if it was like one of those amateur nights, like New Year's Eve. That's one of them.
Yeah, they call that amateur night in the AA.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day. But I've seen it occur, so it does happen often enough.
Here's the story from Fox 13. Wrong way drivers were all intoxicated, records show. This is, of course, coming out of Tampa.
Interesting. So, Sarah, you're concerned about this, but what do you propose to do about it?
Well, you know what? My question was, do we have like the most stupidest drunk driver in America, too, in Albuquerque? Or do they do this all over the country?
Drunk people are stupid everywhere. I mean, if you take enough alcohol in, even if you're a Nobel Prize winner, you're going to be a damn fool for a while. It's an incredibly powerful drug. Have you ever had alcohol before, Sarah?
Yeah, I did. And I wanted to say you.
When was the last time?
Well, I took the swallow maybe 6 months ago.
6 months. So you just had a swallow. Have you ever had more than that? Like maybe when you were younger?
Maybe no more than a half a cup. I
Okay.
just never had more than.
All
a
right,
half
so
cup.
I don't know if that qualifies you as a teetotaler. Probably not, but it's darn close. I mean, if you've never had more than a half a cup of alcohol, then you've probably never had more than an experience of just feeling a little bit tipsy, perhaps, off of it. Maybe slightly inebriated if you're relatively light in frame.
You can drink enough that you slip into a coma. So yes, people will do dumb things.
You
on
can
alcohol.
drink enough to die. In fact, alcohol is incredibly dangerous.
You can't, look at this. In New Mexico, you can drink and drive. You can drink as long as your blood level is 0.08, whatever that means.
Yes.
Doesn't mean a can or a 2 can or a half a can or after you take a nap.
It depends how much, if you're a heavy person, you can probably get away with drinking a little bit more versus someone who doesn't have much weight on them.
Yeah, it's also very difficult to know how much 0.08 is going to affect a given person. So if somebody's never drank alcohol before and they get right to the legal limit, just below the legal limit, they're going to be far more impaired than somebody who drinks daily. So it doesn't really speak to how good of a driver any individual is. That's just the legal limit. So yes, you can drink and drive. And the question I would ask you, Sarah, is: do you think America would be a better place if everybody who had a sip of alcohol would be arrested after getting in a vehicle?
Well, actually, I was told that there are states that are zero tolerance, like Illinois. If they find alcohol in your driving, you are jacked.
Alcohol in your driving.
What
do you mean? In your
and your driving.
Zero tolerance. It's like they cannot find no alcohol whatsoever.
Not possible. So there's alcohol in cough syrup. Some people just produce they'll just have blood alcohol levels. There's just some level of alcohol in them. So
it's 0.08 in Illinois, which is pretty much the standard.
0.08.
Zero tolerance generally means that if we catch you driving above the legal limit, that we will not tolerate it. You will not get a slap on the wrist. You're going to get a harsh sentence.
Thanks, Sarah, for your call tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, when it comes to these situations, I know that MAD is looking to lower the limit to 0.06 now that they've gotten it from 0.1 to 0.08.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was 0.1. Oh, okay, 0.1. Got it.
It
not
wasn't
0.01.
That's insane. See, this is why Big Brewing needs their allies in the DEA to keep people from smoking weed, because one of the nice things that they're finding about weed is that it doesn't have the impact on people's driving that drinking alcohol
The
does.
AAA just came out with, I believe, a study about that.
Yeah,
I think we talked about
AAA came out with it, and they're not the first.
Which is going to be frustrating to the people that want to have the police state come down on cannabis users. I mean, certainly the cops are going to ignore this data, and they will continue to push for criminalizing people who have smoked cannabis while driving. And I hope that we can see that change in some of the newer states that will come on board with legalization or decrim.
Yeah, my guess is that they'll try to make it, and I've seen this term used and bandied about now, so-called drugged driving, where again, like the war on drugs, they try to, set it up so that marijuana is the same as cocaine, is the same as heroin.
Ridiculous.
Now, obviously, heroin is going to be something that you can't drive under reliably.
Nope, there was some guy who was, believe, high on heroin, and he ran a girl over here in Keene a couple of years ago. I actually was in jail with that guy.
Yeah, that stuff is no
idea.
better than alcohol.
Yeah, in fact, they're both ranked. I think it was Professor David Nutt from the UK. He used to be like
There's
a drug
an
czar.
unfortunate name.
It is. He used to be like the drug czar over there, and he sort of turned to the side of good and has come out against the war on drugs. And he helped come up with this. Basically like a harm chart. They categorized each drug, including alcohol, by the harm that it does to the individual and the harm that it does to society. And alcohol and heroin were the top two drugs. And I don't remember, I think they were like tied for number one. Maybe alcohol was slightly beneath heroin, but they were by far the most dangerous drugs to the individual and to society combined. Far more so than ecstasy, LSD, cannabis, all the other supposed bad drugs.
Did he include prescription drugs? Because many of those are very dangerous, and
I don't know.
They really don't get it. People really don't see that because, it's been prescribed to them. But I think more people die in the United States taking their prescription drugs as they were prescribed to them, not abusing them or anything, just as they were prescribed, than all the overdoses combined.
Alcohol number 1 on the list, according to procon.org, where they're looking into the British peer-reviewed journal Lancet, published the study Drug Harms in the UK, a multi-criteria decision analysis from the year of 2010. So according to the harm to users and the harm to others, alcohol is the top on the list, with most of its harm being harm to others, but a good chunk of it being harm to users, and then heroin with most of its harm being harm to users and lesser to harm to others. But both of those are the number 1 and number 2, followed by crack cocaine. Looks like methamphetamine after that, cocaine, tobacco, amphetamines, followed by cannabis, GHB, benzodiazepines, ketamine, methadone, mephedrone, butane. People use butane to get high off of?
I've never
put it in
heard
my
of
lighters.
that.
Yeah.
I used to inhale butane and blow it out in order to blow a flame out of my mouth. I'd just hold a lighter up. But there's no high associated with that. I don't know what you would do with butane.
Down towards the end of this list, you basically get the claim that these drugs are harm to users but no real harm to others, including butane, khat, mephedrone, anabolic steroids, ecstasy, LSD, buprenorphine, and mushrooms. At the very last end of the list, mushrooms, the least harmful.
No harm to steroids. What about roid-raging cops?
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So no, on that list, Mark, no prescription drugs were listed.
Could you use up to $35,000? Whether it's for home improvement, car repairs, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason, LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. Quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. You can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com now.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders, but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $13 higher at $1,287 per ounce, and silver is 24 cents higher at $17.40 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $456 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How can we help you? Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, May 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,282 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $457. Antiwar.com reports new reports out of Britain suggest the nation is preparing to send more ground troops into Libya this week, with estimations that the latest group will be about 50 troops. Britain has been slowly adding troops to Libya in recent months, despite publicly denying any plans for a ground war in the country. All told, Britain is planning to deploy around 1,000 ground troops into Libya to take part in a Libya-led invasion. Officials say this will be a training force, though they have also conceded that only a fraction would be trainers. Earlier this month, some British and Italian special forces were ambushed by the Islamic State inside of Libya, with a number of Italian troops killed or wounded in the incident. Few official details have been offered, however, as the deployment is largely still a secret. British warplanes are said to have carried out communications interference over the major Islamic State city in Libya, the city of Sirte. Officials said the Islamic State was very angry after this move.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
UPI reports a stunt show pilot was killed Saturday when his biplane crashed in front of horrified spectators attending an air show near Atlanta. The incident happened at the Peachtree DeKalb Airport outside of Atlanta on Saturday afternoon. The pilot, who police have not identified, executed a low-to-the-ground pass with another biplane, then shot up into the air. Police said the pilot was likely not able to pull out of the ensuing nosedive due to windy conditions. Police also said the pilot, who was participating in the Good Neighbor Day stunt show, is from Augusta, Georgia. Video of the incident was posted to YouTube by an onlooker, Juan Rios. Rios told NBC News, "We were commenting about the amount of training that the pilots have to go through, and then I started making the joke about the communication between the pilots. Then I just became speechless." The video, which CNN has edited to remove the moment of impact, shows the plane plummeting to the ground, then the wreckage in flames. WSB reported investigators from the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board were on scene Saturday afternoon to begin their official investigation.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports dozens of people were arrested in Washington state on Sunday, 2 days after protesters set up a blockade on railroad tracks leading to a pair of oil refineries as part of a global protest over dependence on fossil fuels. Katie McCulloch, a spokesman for the Skagit County Department of Emergency Management, said the protesters camping out on BNSF railway tracks at Anacortes, Washington, about 70 miles north of Seattle, refused police orders to disperse. All of the 52 protesters under arrest were charged with trespassing, while one person was also charged with resisting arrest, according to a statement on the department's website. No injuries were reported. Billed as Break Free 2016, the protests on 6 continents are part of a 12-day campaign to call attention to climate change and to demand a transition to clean energy, according to the organization's website. Ahmed Gaya, an organizer for Break Free Pacific Northwest, said, "Break Free is about pressuring the system so we get the change we need, but it's also about imagining an alternative." About 150 people began demonstrating on Friday night in Anacortes on tracks leading to Tesoro Corp and Royal Dutch Shell refineries. Tesoro spokeswoman Destin Singleton said operations at the refinery were not affected. The rail line was shut down during the protest but reopened on Sunday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. A spokeswoman gives birth to a spokeschild. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Tacoma spokeswoman Tammy Barker became the proud mother of a bouncing baby spokeschild last night. According to spokespeople, Barker, a spokeswoman for a Tacoma-based pharmaceutical firm, the birthing process was a major success. Peter Wahlberg, spokesman for Tammy's husband Phil, had this to say.
At 9:17 p.m. last night, an 8.5-month-old spokes fetus was delivered alive and through the miracle of birth became a 7-pound, 6-ounce spokes child. Spokes father and spokes mother are doing fine.
Spokeswoman Barker is expected to be released from St. Robert's Hospital tomorrow. The spokeschild will remain in the hospital's media care unit for several weeks of training. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You can join us toll free here, 855-450-FREE. Coming up, Mark, you're going to tell us about a court ordering a father to treat his daughter as a boy. The toll-free number again, if you want to join us here tonight, 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, you've got Ian,
Rich Paul,
and Mark.
Let's go to Tom. He's in Nashua, New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
Do you know what discount postage is?
I do not.
Okay, well, it's something relevant if you mail a lot of stuff. If you've got a political campaign, let's say you're going to be sending out a lot of campaign mail.
Are you talking about bulk rate?
No, I'm talking about discount postage. It has a lot to do with stamp collecting because these people over the years, maybe they bought a lot of panes of commemorative stamps figuring they were going to go up in value, and they don't. Or they buy a pane of stamps and they save the plate block and they don't use up the rest of them before they, there's more stamps coming out. So there's all these stamps that are available on the market for less than face value. And the advantage here is that, you think about it, all these 8-cent stamps that from 8-cent commemorative days that are available below face value, the Postal Service has already been paid for them. And if you buy these up, you click a few keys and learn about discount postage.
So there's a secondary market, if you will, a sort of a reseller's market in stamps that people bought. They got too many of. They realized they didn't want to deal with having them, and they just decided to sell them off at fractions of whatever their actual face value is.
And what people need to know about that, there's two things. First of all, you save money if you use it. If you buy them at a local local stamp show, or if you buy them, over the internet, you save some money. But you're also not giving your money to the government-run postal service. You're giving the money to
that's a good point.
The economy.
Now, now, can you buy? I mean, is it all low value, meaning like 8-cent, 10-cent, 4? What are they all small number stamps, or can you get some 25-cent stamps and things like that? At what is the typical price? I mean, if you're going to buy an 8-cent stamp, what are you going to pay per stamp if you're buying in bulk?
Well, it's anywhere from 80% to 90% typically, but it varies. And if you live in New York City and you're sending out a ton of campaign mail, you can get even better deals with United Nations postage stamps because the only place you can use them is you lug all your mail to the United Nations headquarters and dump them in the mail there. But those are also valid postage stamps at the United Nations headquarters, so you get a better deal than that. And it would actually have some effect if you're sending out campaign mail because people will actually it'll catch their eye, and they might set it aside for Aunt Linda who collects stamps, and they'll read it while they're doing it.
Maybe. It's an interesting idea. Now, of course, you are going to spend more time putting stamps on your letter, given that, 49 cents, I believe, is the current price of...
It went down to 47 cents. So, yes.
Is that true? It actually went up to 49 and then back down? Is that the first time that's ever happened in
many years?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if, let's say they set the envelope aside and they're going to take the stamps off, while they're at it, why don't they open it up and see what's inside it? This is why campaign mail is usually on cards and not, unless they're asking for money, not on sealed envelopes, because you get a lot of people who are just plain too apathetic to bother to open up an envelope to find out where the candidates stand on the issues, which is very sad. But those votes
you don't need to read their propaganda.
Most of the time, I'm pretty sure I know where the candidates stand on the issues.
It's an interesting idea, though, Tom. Thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. The suggestion being that you can get a break if you're willing to buy some old stamps that collectors just didn't end up cashing in on. And I imagine, I wonder, I've never really looked into the stamp collecting world. Is that still a thing? I imagine some people are into it. But has it really worked out? I mean, he says it hasn't. I imagine there are some stamps that have value among other collectors.
Well, there's a lot of stamps out there that are collectible and that trade above value, but
many do not.
Yeah, I would imagine that a lot of the stamps that he's coming about, I mean, some of them would come from collectors, but also
Well, just like baseball cards,
if
there's
you
a
start a
crap load of those.
business and you buy, thousands and thousands and thousands of stamps, and then you end up bankrupt, what happens to those stamps?
You're selling
they
them off.
probably end up on the secondary market at a discount. I can see how they would.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. You can tell us about whatever's on your mind. Let's go to David. He's in Keene on Skype. Keene, New Hampshire. Hello, David.
Hello?
Hey there, you're on the air.
Okay, this is my question. I didn't get a message. Well, anyway. It's about a commercial you have on with Chris Cantwell selling for Donald Trump. I just think that seems anti-liberty. Chris Cantwell, some people think he's a racist, and Donald Trump is like a fascist, and it just seems antithetical to the ideas of liberty, and I just thought
I tend to agree with you on that, David. This is Mark's baby, so Mark, maybe you could address the question here.
Sure. You're talking about
thanks.
the Trump dollar, and I had Cantwell cut the ad for the Trump dollar because
and you read it live on this show every now and then. Too.
I think that the Trump dollar delivers what they say they're going to deliver, right?
What's a Trump dollar?
If you go to TrumpDollar.us, you can buy a copper Trump dollar for $5, and it is it's a commemorative sort of token. You can also, it has
it's made by the Liberty Dollar guy, Bernard von Nothaus,
right? And there's plenty of Liberty.
Yeah. I was shocked too when I heard about this.
By the way,
that's too bad. He's supposed to be at PorcFest this year.
That's correct.
He was very happy with the results initially of his advertising.
Is that right?
So, enough of our listeners wanted to buy Trump dollars that it was a good place for him to advertise. Now, he rightly so understood that there are very few places that he could advertise to be able to reach a general audience. Now, I'm not saying that's libertarian.
And get a good price.
Yeah, and get a good price. So he wanted to advertise on Free Talk Live, and that's fine.
Didn't he send you one?
Yeah, I got.
You still haven't brought it in here yet.
What, you wanted to see it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking about it on the air. Let's see this thing. I know Bernard von Nothaus makes a quality product.
It's
so
a quality product.
I'm sure it looks nice. I jumped on it for this.
Couldn't he make some more Ron Paul dollars though? Those things rock.
Yeah, I mean, those will always sell.
For president though.
But yeah, I see where you're coming from. So I called you out on this one when you first read the copy for it on the air, Mark, and I said, well, did Free Talk Live just jump the shark, taking this advertiser on? And to some extent, I think that the critiques are legitimate, that this is not a particularly principled thing to do. But then again, you need to feed your family, right? So it's not like it's a scam product, like you're saying. It's really copper. Yeah. It's really what it says that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really infer an endorsement by the show when it sells advertising copy. I mean,
some people would.
I suppose if you went and asked the producers of Friends, maybe they really love Snickers bars and they think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's why Snickers was advertised during Friends. But I would not infer that. I would not assume that Jennifer Aniston is chowing down on Snickers bars because they're advertised on her show.
I think in the case of live reads that one can
live reads are a little bit different.
It sounds like an endorsement.
Oh,
I think it is an endorsement.
Okay.
I agree that it is an endorsement, and I endorse Trump dollar in the sense that they will provide you with precisely what they say they will. They did for me. They made a quality product, and that's that. I mean, I don't, if you want a copper medallion with Donald Trump's face on it, I recommend TrumpDollar.us.
Above all other copper Trump faces.
Right. If I...
Okay. Fair enough.
If I go and...
Which, interestingly enough, I mean, copper is exactly the right color for it, though, because it's, like, natural for him, He's got the whole orange thing going, so he's pretty copper-colored.
Spray-on tan?
Yeah, he's got the copper-colored spray-on tan. I wonder if that was just he wanted to match his coin.
Not a single one of my listeners is going to buy a copper Trump dollar from TrumpDollar.us unless they want one.
That's true. Toll-free number here,
true.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And we weren't going to talk about it tonight, so they just got a freebie in this evening. You can join us here on Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You're fired. According to the Small Business Administration, 75% of small businesses plan to eliminate jobs or reduce workers' hours to part-time. You're fired. According to Gallup, the unemployment rate recently jumped to nearly 9%, and the underemployment rate hit a staggering 17.9%. You're fired. 1 out of 3 young adults and 1 out of 2 recent college graduates are underemployed. Hello, I'm Keith Abel, a pharmacist and a home business entrepreneur. In 2011, I became one of those statistics myself. Instead of looking for another job in corporate America, I joined Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. We're creating steady incomes for ourselves and would like to show you how to do the same. If you want to supplement your current income, replace your income, so you don't have to become one of the statistics, then give me a call toll-free at 866-257-3105, 866-257-3105. You're fired. Don't wait till you hear those words. Start creating an extra income today. 866-257-3105.
Do you know the difference between erudite and pedantic? If you do, you're probably pedantic. But seriously, a surprising number of erudite people mispronounce erudite, which has 3 syllables, not 4. Say erudite, not erudite. Because you are judged by how you speak, you want to avoid common misstatements, especially if you're a job seeker. For instance, do you know the difference between imply and infer? Only a speaker can imply. Only a listener can infer. And when you say you'll be out of pocket, do you mean out of touch? Out of pocket means you're on your own dime, not yet reimbursed. And if anyone ever asks, why do you always answer a question with a question? You should reply, do I do that? Just kidding. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We did talk about the TSA in the first hour of the show. You're welcome to continue the comments there with huge delays, apparently worse than ever, it seems like. Passengers are frustrated, but ultimately, what can really be done about it? Some airlines are hiring people to kind of take away some of the routine, I guess, of going through the lines. They are instructing people on the basics of how to get through the lines quickly so they can hopefully try to speed things up, because right now a lot of people are missing their flights. There's a story over at the AP talking about, American Airlines. They held at least 5 flights at Dallas-Fort Worth on Friday morning because of passengers stuck at security lines. On the 720 flight to Vegas, 52 of the 160 passengers, that's a third of the plane pretty much, were not on board 10 minutes before departure. American held the plane an extra 13 minutes past their scheduled pushback from the gate. Because remember, the longer that jet stays there, the longer the other one that's supposed to come in on time is not going to be on time. So they can only stay for so long. That meant another 23 passengers were able to get on board, but 29 of them still missed the jet and had to take later flights. A few gates away, 27 passengers missed their flight to Orlando. At another American hub, Chicago's O'Hare International Airport security lines peaked at an hour and 45 minutes long on Thursday. Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian told the Associated Press that, quote, the longer lines get, the more passengers are going to miss flights, and there's not much you can do about that. That's true. If you're the airline, you are being held hostage by this TSA checkpoint nonsense. Now, of course, the TSA would like you to know about the pre-check program. Mark, you said you would have joined this program.
I would have, yeah.
As a felon, you're immediately disqualified.
Or a violent felon or something, yeah.
From it. Launched nationwide in 2012, PreCheck gives previously vetted passengers special screening. Shoes, belts, and light jackets stay on. Laptops and liquids stay in their bags. And these flyers go through standard metal detectors rather than the explosive detecting full-body scanners that most pass through. PreCheck security lanes can screen 300 passengers an hour, which is twice that of the standard lanes.
It's just that nobody wants to pay the extra for it.
Not only do you have to pay extra for it, but you also have to submit yourself to more scrutiny.
It's extra work ahead of time, that kind of thing.
The TSA offered Congress a lofty goal of having 25 million flyers enrolled in the program, but as of March 1st, only 9.3 million people were PreCheck members.
Huh, I'm surprised it's that high.
Applicants must pay $85 to $100 every 5 years. Most must also trek to the airport for an interview before being accepted. Getting a once-a-year flyer to join has obviously been a challenge. So there you go. Toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. New York City's airports are saying they can no longer tolerate TSA's inadequacy. But what are they going to do about it?
It would probably be cheaper to pay people to join PreCheck than to buy these extra screeners, to pay these extra screeners.
Because the union says they want 6,000 more screeners.
Yeah. So instead of paying for 6,000 more government employees, and I can only imagine what, including benefits, these people get paid, call it $50,000 a year. We're talking a lot of money compared to giving people $50 to be a one of these pre-checkers. Not that big of a deal.
Getting annual flyers to sign up for PreCheck, though, would be of limited benefit because they don't go to the airport very often. So in terms of managing your line size, that's not the tree I would be barking up.
If you,
I would be looking for the guys who fly on business,
right? Absolutely,
10 times a year. Probably what you'll find also is the people who are signed up are the most frequent flyer. So then, you want to find a way to push your marginal flyer down and make it cheaper for him to sign up.
If government bureaucracies weren't so bureaucratic, what they would do is there would be a little code on the ticket of a person who is a frequent flyer, even if they're not 10 times, even if they're 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. And then the TSA would see the code, and while the guys or the gal or whomever it is putting their belt on and getting their shoes back on, they can step up and say, hey, do you have an hour? Do you have a half an hour until your flight? Because
nope. I was standing in line for 2 hours.
We'd like to take you in the office and do a screening for you, and then we could make you a pre-check, and you can go through twice as fast the next go around. And we're willing to offer it to you for free. This is normally a $100 value, and if you'd be willing to do that, we'll even give you a free bottle of water we confiscated from somebody.
Here's what you do when the line is super, super long. you say, okay, if you sign up for this program, we'll sign you up in 15 minutes, and then you will immediately be allowed through security.
There you go.
That would get people signed up
Sure
for
would.
it.
In the story
Blackmail.
from ABC News about New York City's airports complaining to the TSA about these lines, this is a relatively recent story, came out last week. Because I was wondering, why don't they change to private security? Why haven't we seen this really happen?
Because they're not allowed to is probably the reason.
Well, according to the story here, New York's airports aren't the first to make these threats. The busiest airport in the country, Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson, made a similar threat in February. There are fewer than 24 airports using private screening. Most of those airports are very small, but there are exceptions. San Francisco International Airport and Kansas City International Airport both have private firms handling a significant number of passengers. The companies must meet the same standards and protocols as the TSA.
Right.
And pay its officers at least what the TSA pays. So a lot of the reasons why you would want to change to the private security are sort of negated by the fact that they basically have to be a private version of the TSA. But nonetheless, I bet you they still do a better job. I bet you they're better managed and they're moving more passengers per hour than the TSA is.
If they don't do a better job, they're going to be replaced by the TSA.
The airports and firms also must first pass an approval process. TSA representative says the agency is addressing the growing volume of travelers, but, quote, the TSA's primary focus is the current threat environment, as the American transportation system remains a high-value target for terrorists. This comes back to a statement you made while we were off the air a little while ago, Rich. You had said that the fact that terrorists, are not attacking the checkpoints themselves is evidence that there isn't really much of a terrorist threat in the first place.
Yeah, well, I mean, what better way would there be to attack the American government but to kill a bunch of people in a way which exposes their glaringly obvious incompetence in setting up a security system in the first place?
Right.
I mean, it's just, it doesn't even compute what they're trying to do. We're going to take your supposed bomb in your water bottle away and throw it in the trash.
What would they do then? I mean, if someone were to detonate a bomb at the TSA checkpoint, which are now loaded with people apparently, more so than normal, what would the government's response be? I think you're right. It brilliantly calls them out. And what are they going to do? Move the checkpoint?
They'd have to put another checkpoint behind the checkpoint. But, of course, then somebody can go blow that one up.
Yeah.
You know, it would have to be a light. The way they would arrange it would be to have it be a lighter checkpoint so the line there never got as long, or so they would promise. But it wouldn't work out.
No, of course not. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Amazon's planning to sell you diapers. They got their own private label that they are launching, and they sell you other things too, like food, detergents, batteries. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. You can share your thoughts on whatever's on your mind.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims, we just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Free Talk Live.
When you speak of the federal government, I can tell you a few things about it because I survived 34 years of it before I retired 2 years ago.
Ew,
and
sorry to hear about that.
my sanity.
Congratulations.
Who did you work for?
I worked for the Department of Defense. It's a criminal enterprise from top to bottom. There was unethical behavior going on there. There were people doing criminal things. I mean, outright larceny, graft. I could just go on.
Yeah, and that's just your bureaucracy. It's the same way everywhere else in every other government department.
And I tell you, this is a microcosm. If it's that way where I was, you know the entire federal government's that way from the very top to the very bottom.
When we talk to former police officers, they've told us that usually
I did that too for about 7 years out there.
They've told us that in their experience, usually the worst rise up through the ranks. Would you say that's accurate from your experience?
Absolutely.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us toll free. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we'll talk about Amazon getting apparently into the private labeling business, and that's always good news for customers because private labels I've always been a huge fan of, where you can buy essentially the same kind of quality product that you get from the name brands for less, and of course Amazon is great at doing that. We'll talk more about that on the way. You can also bring up what's on your mind. And it's Ian, Rich, and Mark in the studio with you here tonight. Mark, you're going to be telling us coming up, though, immediately about courts ordering a dad to treat his daughter as a boy. Now, we'll get into that. But first, are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Well, stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. So stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, and spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. All right, let's hear about this story from Court. Where's it coming from?
LifeSiteNews.com. It is from Steve Weatherby. Prince George, British Columbia, faced with two estranged parents in utter disagreement about their daughter's wish to be a boy, a British Columbia Supreme Court has appointed the child a legal guardian to protect her interests. The father not only wants his daughter to cease taking hormone blockers, 11-year-old, but also to cease all contact with transgender activists or transgender-friendly therapists. Though the case is about whether the 11-year-old can give informed consent on such serious medical treatment, which is intended to delay the onset of female puberty, the judge appears to have already conceded the point by referring to the girl by her preferred male initials, JK, and accepting her male self-identification. In his ruling, Mr. Justice Ronald Skullrood declared that this case is really about J.K. and his role in determining his own future. In my view, these issues cannot be properly considered without J.K.'s direct participation.
I tend to agree.
I think I think this is a fascinating question because, first off, can an 11-year-old make these decisions? Because I can tell you the government doesn't think an 11-year-old can make lots of other more menial decisions.
That's true.
Yeah. You can decide to change your sex, but not to have sex. That's interesting. You can lose it, but you can't use it.
Right. I mean, this is an 11-year-old. It's not even considered pubescent in many cases. I mean, in this case, the child is not pubescent because they're taking hormone blockers. And that is a pretty serious choice. Like a tattoo, you can make the choice for a tattoo until you're 18, but you can choose to essentially change your gender at 11.
While I agree with the judge that absolutely the young person should be consulted in this entire thing, I don't agree that the dad should be forced to have his opinion change or to act as though he doesn't hold the opinion that he does. If dad doesn't want to support his kid, that should be his choice to do that.
Right. I think that you can I believe that an adult, I'm not sure what I think about this case. I believe that an adult can choose to change their gender if that's what they wish. They cannot force me or anybody else to refer to them by any particular pronoun. They may make a fuss about it, and they may make me uncomfortable, and they may make my life uncomfortable to the point that I then decide to go ahead and call them that, but they can't dictate to me my actions.
I'll generally do it just because it's the courteous thing to do. But sometimes I'll make a mistake and I'll, accidentally call he or she or whatever.
Sure, if you're dealing with somebody who's transitioning, I imagine they're dealing with the difficulty all the time.
It's not like I did it on purpose or was trying to offend someone or whatever.
But I think that there's an end to this at some point too. There's this new thing where you're supposed to, you're like, okay, I must be referred to please refer to me by the pronoun je, right? Like this whole thing where, this is just a little
the
much
non-gender pronoun.
Yeah, the non-gender pronoun thing.
My response would be, I'm not going to do that. Well, if you don't want to talk to me, you don't have to.
I think the proper.
I don't even know what those pronouns mean. I wouldn't know how to use them in a sentence.
It's just, for me, it's just a little much for me to deal with. But I'm sure that there's somebody who's listening who thinks that this is a really important thing. And, I'm not going to exclude that I'll never, ever do this. I just think that, there's a way that you can, lampoon this by saying, oh, yeah, well, I prefer to be referred to by my soul name, Big Daddy Rhino Schwanz. And you may not use a pronoun in referring to me as – you must refer to me, and every time you refer to me as Big Daddy Rhino Schwanz.
Instead of he.
Yeah, instead of he or whatever. Mark, whatever it is. And so I've added a whole bunch of syllables, right? And if you get it wrong, it's offensive and it's a crime against humanity and, like the whole thing. And that just kind of shows that, this is difficult for people to sort of internalize. And they don't want new pronouns. But I do understand that this is a particularly important issue to a lot of people.
And it's also not uncommon for someone who is transgender or transitioning to say that they made that decision early in life or had that realization. Yeah. Some of them just, they come to this conclusion or this understanding about themselves that, oh, I'm not supposed to be this gender. And a lot of that happens at young ages.
Sure. I think this is very difficult.
Did you guys know that I'm trans, though?
Trans what? Here we go.
I'm transracial. I was born mostly white, but I identify as human. And I actually want that to become a thing.
On a checkbox, like on a form or whatever?
Well, as a checkbox on a form, and I would like to encourage others of all races to become transracial and just discard their racial baggage.
I like that.
and realign their allegiance to the human race.
That would be an interesting proposal to put forward. Like if you could find one of the Liberty reps here in New Hampshire, because here in New Hampshire we've got this migration of libertarians that are coming here because concentrating activism works, and that's happening here, where we've actually got nearly 24 liberty-minded people who are like real principled libertarians, anarchist types, voluntarists in the state legislature, you could propose that any state form that has a race box on it or whatever, check boxes for race, I'm sure they exist. That's the state. Of course they have that somewhere. Either it be eliminated entirely or human be added to the list of options. You could do something
that
like that.
That would actually be good, and there might be a way to tie it into the church such that our religious freedom required that we be permitted to identify as human.
It would be interesting to watch the discussion, too, because every bill in New Hampshire, this is different from other states from what I understand. I don't know how many states have this, but New Hampshire is one of them that does, where every single proposal, no matter how crazy sounding it might be, because there's 400 state reps, some of them are crazier than others, every single proposal has to have a public hearing. So at some point, if you found someone to sponsor that legislation, there would be a public hearing at which you and I or anyone else could attend. It would be interesting to hear the arguments against doing that. I suspect one of them would be cost, because they would say, oh, well, we've already got all these forms printed up, and so we can't just spend the taxpayers' money unnecessarily, because New Hampshire's a very flinty state. They don't want to spend too much generally.
And the easy answer there is that's fine. Just do it by attrition. When you run out of these forms, you'll have to print new ones, and that will cost money anyway.
They'll also say that, look, this demographic information is important. We need to know, people tend to act similarly in groups, whatever those might be. So many of the groups that we
that's when you start calling them a racist. What, you want to know what color I am, so you want to know how I'm going to behave? Haven't we given up that kind of classification?
I like it. Oh, I'm with you. So when we got our marriage license, I refused in Sarasota County, Florida. I refused to give a race, and I'm sure that this poor lady who was just taking this form is like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Right? Like she just wanted to be done with all of this. But she gave me all my choices, and apparently there was a choice of business as a race. They didn't have human wasn't a choice, but business was a choice of race. So according to my marriage license that my wife and I got, we're business race. Huh.
Wow, she's married to Mark Edge Incorporated.
I don't know. It's weird.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There's more to the story.
If I declare my race to be business, then do I have a constitutional right to trade?
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and you can join us here also on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. This is Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we'll continue. You may bring up whatever's on your mind. We've been discussing a story out of Canada where a judge has decided that a father has to respect his daughter's choice, born a female, to transition into a male. And I guess Dad is not happy about that. Originally, what was it, Mark? He wanted her to stop taking certain medication.
Hormone blockers.
Which she has been taking for I'm not sure how long.
Yeah, and to stop seeing like therapists and those sorts of things.
She's 11 years old, or he, or the person in question.
The court has ordered you to refer to her as a he. So there you go.
Let's see. I never misgender transgendered, but I'm now tempted to misgender this poor person just because there was a court order saying that her father should not. And I'm sorry, that's just
for me. The issue is the age of majority here. I mean, having a kid, I realize they're fickle. They change their minds. They don't necessarily know what they want. Mm-hmm. Now, certainly, there's a good chance that this young boy, girl transitioning to boy, knows what he wants. And I'm not going to I wouldn't, stand in the way of that. But as a father, I find this to be really complicated. The father also gets to decide how his life's going to go, and he should be able to call his daughter into his mind whatever pronoun he wishes to call her. But I also think that, an 11-year-old is going to decide relatively quickly where he wants to be hanging out. And if he doesn't want to hang out with Dad any longer, then that's going to be on Dad.
Well, even if this isn't, we can take this out of the realm of transgender, that issue, because that's a hot issue right now.
It's a hot issue.
What if this were some other malady that the child had come down with, some kind of sickness, and Mom and Dad had a disagreement on how to treat that sickness?
That's exactly. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and frequently the state will become the tiebreaker there. But the thing is, this is pretty rare what they're actually apparently demanding this guy to do, which is they will sometimes order you to refrain from saying things that you believe to be true, but it's actually pretty rare that you will have a court order requiring you to say something that you maintain is false, and that is a pretty egregious violation of the right to conscience, the right to be who you are and to say who you are and to let it be.
You should be free to be an a-hole.
I mean, I guess the closest you can come is sometimes they will require you to apologize, but that's...
Well, we are talking about Canada, so I wonder if the Canadian system is different.
Oh, Canada, there is no First Amendment.
That's true. There are restrictions about like hate speech on the radio in Canada, for instance.
Yes, true. You can actually be arrested for denying the Armenian genocide in France, I believe. Or at least the Jewish genocide.
Her father, referred to as NK, has persisted in referring to his daughter by her female name at birth, or PK, in court documents, despite an earlier court order that he refer to her with male pronouns, name, and initials. I think that this the site particularly has a bend on it, so I'm just reading it as they say it.
I've got another version from the Star, which is a Toronto paper as well.
Yeah.
So
the child is in joint custody along with a younger sibling of unstated gender, but both children spend most of their time with their mother, AH. AH and NK, that's the father, have been married twice to each other starting in 1999, were divorced, and a second time late last year, having produced one child in each marriage.
Does that ever work out when somebody – it does when somebody gets married, divorced, and then marries the same person a second time? That actually – do you know somebody who's stuck with it the second time around?
My in-laws. Yeah, and he's got my father-in-law's got a really great set of jokes because, you know, the first marriage, my mother-in-law raised kids and these kinds of things. The second marriage, he basically does all the cooking and, you know, the cleaning and a variety of things like that. Well, just, you know, he has
Mr. Mom.
He's home more.
He's trans-rolled.
So he says, my first wife was a much better cook, and, you know, it's a pretty good.
I gotcha.
Joke. Yeah, but anyway,
they're still together
and got back together. So whatever, all the best to them.
Yeah, see, that's always a great subtle way to send your wife a message. Just start introducing her as, I'd like you to meet my first wife.
It's funny.
More from the story?
Yep, going on. Most of the intervening years when married, they spent apart, with the mother twice living in New Zealand while she got what the court calls specialized medical training during her second sojourn there. In NK took care of the children. According to AH, the mother, her daughter displayed masculine behavior very early, but the issue came to a head last year when her daughter reacted strongly to a shopping trip for her first training bra. AH got psychological help for her child, after which her daughter expressed the wish to take the hormone blocker Lupron. According to Skullrood's ruling, AH supports this course of treatment, whereas NK's view is that the child has not been adequately and independently assessed so as to permit a proper determination of whether this treatment is the child's best interest. Now, it looks like NK, the father, has had the child for a great deal of its life. Now, that's a little unusual because the mother had gone two times to New Zealand, didn't take the kids with her. So you're not talking about, for me, if the mom gives birth to the kid, the mom provides the vast majority of care to the kid. Even if the father's providing money, I get that that's important, but I see the primary role of the parenting going to the mom in that case. However, if dad's left to do the parenting while mom's off in New Zealand doing, you know, nurse training or whatever it is that she's doing, that kind of changes things to my mind and makes the it makes this whole thing that much more convoluted and murky. The 11-year-old wants to be called male and wants to take hormone blockers. The mother says, sure, I just got back from New Zealand. That sounds like a great idea. The dad's like, whoa. Hey, I don't see any reason for this. And
Dad has a conspiracy theory according to thestar.com. It says here that he believes his child is being directed by a group of transgender activists.
Well,
and that he has
it ever happened?
And that he has concerns about what he believes is a dangerous drug.
Has anyone ever been convinced? Has anyone ever had a sex change operation? Has anyone ever made a decision that they regretted?
Sure.
Has anyone ever made a decision to get a sex change that they've regretted?
I bet that's happened.
Yeah, as I understand it, it happens on a relatively regular basis, not all the time or even a majority of the time. So is somebody who's 11 more or less likely to make a poor decision, and are they more or less likely to be have their mind turned if they're in some kind of transgendered activist group? I don't know the answer to any of this stuff, but I can tell you that we are no longer allowed to unisize young boys so that they can sing soprano. So that says to me that if that was the stated reason, I want to be a castrati, I'll bet we wouldn't let a young boy do it.
That's interesting, right? I mean, and then, take the government out of this picture, because one of the things we talk about a lot on this show is, well, how would things work without the coercive state around to tell people what to do? What happens in a private agreement between parents? Because ultimately marriage is a contract.
Yep.
And what happens to the children, who some people believe should be sort of as autonomous as they want to be, but others believe young people should be children until some arbitrary age determined by, well, in this case, some governments, but in their case, arbitrarily determined by whoever. I don't know who would determine that.
I think that it's when you when you demonstrate the ability to take care of yourself. And as far as I'm concerned, there are plenty of 30-year-olds living in their parents' basements who are not adults, and that there are some 14-year-olds who are. So I don't know. I mean, I can't claim one way or the other, but I would say that you have to demonstrate the ability to take care of yourself and to handle the consequences of your actions. Is this child able to do that? I don't know the answer to that.
Well,
but it seems unlikely.
Who decides
well,
that?
certainly we have to. If you look at Alexander the Great, okay, in command of armies, setting out to take over the world and doing it very successfully.
He was very young.
He was
right?
15 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So was he an adult? Well, I certainly wouldn't have wanted to tell him he wasn't. He had a sword. So,
and men with swords.
if he had come to me with sword in hand and asserted his adulthood, I probably would have said, "Sure you are, kid," as you were.
And if he said he wanted to be called Alexandra, you'd be fine with that too.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
With the Greeks, one never knows what they were demanding.
The toll-free number.
Wasn't he Macedonian?
Well, yeah, it's Macedonian to you, pal.
Okay.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Who decides whether this young person has the maturity, the ability, the life experience to be able to make these decisions absent the state? 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. If you want to join us, hour 3's on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Could you use up to $35,000? No need to shop around for loans anymore. LoanUS.com is a convenient online way to connect with a lender based on your unique background and provide you a loan of up to $35,000. And LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. Use the loan to pay for emergency expenses, medical bills, debt consolidation, home improvement, large purchases, and even taxes.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, May 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $17.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,282 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $457. Antiwar.com reports, new reports out of Britain suggest the nation is preparing to send more ground troops into Libya this week, with estimations that the latest group will be about 50 troops. Britain has been slowly adding troops to Libya in recent months, despite publicly denying any plans for a ground war in the country. All told, Britain is planning to deploy around 1,000 ground troops into Libya to take part in a Libya-led invasion. Officials say this will be a training force, though they have also conceded that only a fraction would be trainers. Earlier this month, some British and Italian special forces were ambushed by the Islamic State inside of Libya, with a number of Italian troops killed or wounded in the incident. Few official details have been offered, however, as the deployment is largely still a secret. British warplanes are said to have carried out communications interference over the major of the Islamic State city in Libya, the city of Sirte. Officials said the Islamic State was very angry after this move.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
UPI reports a stunt show pilot was killed Saturday when his biplane crashed in front of horrified spectators attending an air show near Atlanta. The incident happened at the Peachtree DeKalb Airport outside of Atlanta on Saturday afternoon. The pilot, who police have not identified, executed a low-to-the-ground pass with another biplane, then shot up into the air. Police said the pilot was likely not able to pull out of the ensuing nosedive due to windy conditions. Police also said the pilot, who was participating in the Good Neighbor Day stunt show, is from Augusta, Georgia. Video of the incident was posted to YouTube by an onlooker, Juan Rios. Rios told NBC News, "We were commenting about the amount of training that the pilots have to go through, and then I started making the joke about the communication between the pilots. Then I just became speechless." The video, which CNN has edited to remove the moment of impact, shows the plane plummeting to the ground, then the wreckage in flames. WSB reported investigators from the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board were on scene Saturday afternoon to begin their official investigation.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports dozens of people were arrested in Washington state on Sunday, 2 days after protesters set up a blockade on railroad tracks leading to a pair of oil refineries as part of a global protest over dependence on fossil fuels. Katie McCulloch, a spokesman for the Skagit County Department of Emergency Management, said the protesters, camping out on BNSF railway tracks at Anacortes, Washington, about 70 miles north of Seattle, refused police orders to disperse. All of the 52 protesters under arrest were charged with trespassing, while one person was also charged with resisting arrest, according to a statement on the department's website. No injuries were reported. Billed as Break Free 2016, the protests on 6 continents are part of a 12-day campaign to call attention to climate change and to demand a transition to clean energy, according to the organization's website. Ahmed Gaya, an organizer for Break Free Pacific Northwest, said, "Break Free is about pressuring the system so we get the change we need, but it's also about imagining an alternative." About 150 people began demonstrating on Friday night in Anacortes on tracks leading to Tesoro Corp and Royal Dutch Shell refineries. Tesoro spokeswoman Destin Singleton said operations at the refinery were not affected. The rail line was shut down during the protest but reopened on Sunday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An unpopular police officer thinks about committing a racially motivated offense for a little support. A middle-aged man is having the best snacks of his life, and a housefly drops everything to go stand on a watermelon slice. This is the Onion Week in Review. Noting the youth center's ping-pong table and array of DVDs and Blu-rays, local youth minister Mark Kindler told reporters this week that his church's new rec room has everything a teen could want. The youth pastor revealed that the basement facility's many teen-friendly amenities include a new Wii U console, an iPod dock for the teens to play any music they like, and some comfortable recliners for those who just want to relax or do their homework after school.
We've really gone out of our way to give the rec room a laid-back atmosphere. It's stocked with snacks, but sometimes at the end of the week, we'll spring for some pizza. Honestly, I wish I had a place like this when I was their age.
In other news, increased violence leads the State Department to issue an advisory for Americans traveling to 1861, and an elderly lobbyist is always droning on about how little legislation used to cost in his day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. You're invited to join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The first threat has been leveled at Arcade City for coming into Austin, Texas. We'll give you an update on the Austin transportation, I don't know if you want to call it a war. Basically, Uber and Lyft have closed up operations and have left the city.
Massacre.
Because the government has decided to crack down and threaten them, and we'll get into that here in moments. But also, you can join us. The toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE. And other news related to, in the last hour, Mark, you told us about an 11-year-old born a male.
Female.
I'm sorry. Born a female, wants to be male, feels like she is a male. And dad, not happy with that. Mom supports her child's decision in this particular case, and a judge has backed the mother. A judge has said that not only is she allowed to continue her treatments because she's taking some sort of pill to repress hormones, but she's also but dad also has to respect this decision and refer to her with the male pronouns that she'd prefer to be referred to with. So pretty disturbing story in that I support people's ability to choose whatever they want for themselves, and I think that even young people should be able to make those choices. But it brings up some interesting questions because, first of all, I don't think that someone else should have their freedom of speech repressed simply because they, are of a different mindset of the person who is trying to make that choice. In the case of a dad and a mom of a child who's making the choice to be a different gender, then things get pretty sticky because who really should get to decide these things? Should it be the child who's making the decision? Even if both parents don't want it to happen, should the onus of that decision be laying completely on the child, or is there somebody to whom that must be appealed to? Why do we look to a government judge for this kind of thing?
Why a judge?
Yeah. And if not the judge, then who? And how?
According to the American College of Pediatrics, a voluntary association of medical practitioners recently released a statement declaring that conditioning children into believing a lifetime of chemical and surgical impersonation of the opposite sex is normal and healthful is child abuse. Clearly they have an opinion, right? The statement adds that, and I think this is a little more important to me, the statement adds that while 9 out of 10 gender dysphoric children, and at least they admit that there's something called gender dysphoria, ultimately accept their biological sex. Those that do not are committed to a lifetime of carcinogenic and otherwise toxic cross-sex hormones and will likely consider unnecessary surgical mutilations of their healthy body parts as young adults. Sounds pretty loaded in their direction. Now,
they've got – that's not a scientific statement.
The 9 out of 10 part?
No, the when you start using words like mutilate instead of alter, that's passed into emotionalism. I don't consider that a scientific
I
statement.
agree with you that they really they truly mess up their whole statement here.
What was that organization called?
This is the American College of Pediatricians, which sounds very legit, doesn't it? But the statement doesn't sound.
Although I think I seem to remember an organization called that could be a sound-alike organization. I'd be curious to find out what the actual premier organization for pediatricians is.
Yeah, so the American College of Pediatricians is, according to Wikipedia, a small, socially conservative. Gee, you think?
There's a flashing banner for the Catholic hard-hitting Catholic news magazine called in Faithful Insight.
Their Association of Pediatricians and Other Healthcare Professionals in the United States was founded in 2002 by a group of pediatricians as a protest against the American Academy of Pediatrics, which may be what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Protest against the AAP's support for adoption by gay couples. So this group was formed in opposition to the idea of gay couples being able to adopt children.
It's a hate group.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we talked about that particular issue too, and where my stance is that I would say it is not optimal for a child to be raised by parents of the same sex.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because I consider it to be suboptimal.
Why?
I would consider a opposite sex to socialize kids into the the best scenarios, the best way of thinking for them. However, I will also state that there is no such thing as an optimal pair of parents. So therefore, who am I to judge what sort of suboptimal
I think it's
parenting?
insane to say, just because somebody's got two dads or two moms or whatever means that it's somehow less optimal than having one sex and the other sex. That doesn't make any sense. It's not based on anything except your emotions. Whereas, for instance...
No, it's not based on my emotions. It's based on my understanding of sociology and the way humans interact.
If you could find young people who are raised by gay couples and show that they were just as well-adjusted, if not more so, well-adjusted to society, then that would completely disprove it. Well, how do you define all of this?
I can tell you I know somebody who is not.
What does that mean?
You are not well-adjusted. So therefore...
I wasn't raised by a gay couple.
I know. I have no idea.
I was raised by a couple.
Well-adjusted
your parents seem to be...
Being well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society is not necessarily a sign of health.
My parents were fine.
They seem like really good folks.
Good
I don't know where
folks.
this
They
went
didn't
wrong.
beat me. They didn't. They didn't divorce.
Were your parents gay?
No, they were not.
Okay.
And they are not. They're still together. They're not divorced.
Nope.
They got along well. They,
not.
they loved me. They took care of me, and God us bless them for it. I appreciate it. And they didn't beat me, thank goodness.
Yeah.
There's plenty of heterosexual couples who are abusive towards their children.
Sure,
plenty of them. And there are plenty of gay couples who are very, loving towards one another, who would love to share that love with a child, but they aren't able to do so.
They're choosing to have a child when they adopt.
It wasn't an
choosing
accident.
Right. It's not something that's just foisted upon them, which in so many cases, again, I would consider that suboptimal, maybe even more so.
Which means that it's more likely that a gay couple's probably better adjusted. Because they're choosing
I'm not
to do
talking
it.
about statistics. I'm just saying there's so many things that make somebody sort of suboptimal as parents, and that it's a world full of suboptimal people, and I cannot sit here and say how a couple, whether they're the same sex or different sex, will do as far as taking care of an adult, raising a child to adulthood. I just don't know. So I don't take a stance on that, but I phrase it in a way so that other people can understand that, look, I tend to agree that a heterosexual couple is probably more optimal, but heterosexual couples are messed up too. So what do we do with a world full of messed up people? I guess we just stay out of each other's
Let
business.
them adopt the kids if they want to adopt the kids. There's plenty of people out there in the world of adoptables. And so to say that because someone, and you're not saying this is what the American College of Pediatricians is saying, to say that a gay couple shouldn't be able to adopt is relegating all of those adoptable children
to foster care
and orphanages and things like that.
I would say that being raised by a gay couple, we would I think all agree would be better than being raised by the state.
Absolutely.
So
It'd probably be a lot
say
more
let
fun.
them do it. But yeah, this group is an interesting.
Let me tell you more about them. the American College of Pediatricians, again from Wikipedia, membership has been estimated between 60 and 200 members. By the way, it's usually a bad sign when an organization won't tell you how many members they have, and you have to take a guess at that.
And that the what is the American Association of Pediatrics?
The other group, the American Academy of Pediatrics.
They probably have more members named Steve than this organization has.
The AAP, the bigger group, has over 60,000 members. So the American College of Pediatricians, which is the small socially conservative group, describes itself, quote, as a, quote, national organization of pediatricians and other healthcare professionals dedicated to the health and well-being of children. So they'll accept more than just pediatricians, too, in their memberships. You can be other healthcare professional and also join this group just because they need the members.
A nosy nurse.
Committed to fulfilling its mission by producing sound policy based on the best available research to assist parents and to influence society in the endeavor of child rearing, unquote. Further, this is Joseph Zanga, who is the past president of the American Academy of Pediatrics. The larger group has described the smaller group as a group of Judeo-Christian traditional values that is open to pediatric medical professionals of all religions. I'm confused there. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450. Okay, I see. Zanga is a past president of the AAP who helped found the smaller organization. So he was describing his own newer group. 855-450-FREE. Share your thoughts.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $13 higher at $1,287 per ounce, and silver is 24 cents higher at $17.40 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $456 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How can we help you? Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us toll free here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything you want to discuss. We've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Could you use up to $35,000, whether it's for home improvement, car repairs, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason? LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. It's quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states, and you can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com right now, and LoanUS.com connects you with lenders but is not a lender or broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details will vary. See LoanUS.com for more details.
I went through their process at LoanUS.com, and it was fast and easy.
So Austin, Texas, is now threatening the folks over at Arcade City and the other startups that are coming into the business. We'll tell you more about that coming up. But first, Amazon may be selling you your diapers soon, whether adult or baby diapers. They're looking to launch their own private label brand, and actually, they apparently have already done so. I've actually got Amazon batteries. So I needed some AA batteries, and I looked at the price at Walmart because I was there, and I decided, what do they sell batteries for on Amazon? And I went on there, and they actually have their own brand of batteries now that I don't know if they've been tested to see how much better they are than the big-name brands, but they're cheaper, so I went ahead and got them. And Amazon apparently is going to start selling its own brand of snacks, diapers, and detergent, a move a lot of traditional retailers have already made. This is a story from Recode.net, but Amazon isn't a traditional retailer, so this move could be very meaningful for Amazon and its competitors. The e-commerce powerhouse will soon begin selling its own packaged goods exclusively to Amazon Prime members under brands like Happy Belly and Mama Bear, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Belly and Mama Bear, all right.
They sound vaguely Chinese. I would expect to if somebody asked me the nationality of those two brands, I would guess Chinese. Happy Belly.
Could very well be manufactured there. I don't know where they're going to be doing this. A lot of private labels are actually made by major manufacturers, but then they just slap a different label on the package and send it off to Sam's Club or whoever it is that they're selling it for, or whoever's selling it.
Probably these days, the private label is made by some factory in China, and the major manufacturer and the private label. The major manufacturer gets their batteries there, and then they do private label stuff when they have some time.
Amazon already sells things like electronic accessories, office supplies, and even clothing under a variety of its own brand names. Now it's going all in on groceries and household products. While some people will point out that so-called private labeling is nothing new, grocery stores and big box retailers have been increasingly pushing their in-house brands. This is a much bigger deal, they claim. And they say that's because growth in retail is all going to be online, and Amazon owns online. It already accounts for half of all sales growth in U.S. e-commerce. That's a pretty big statistic. Amazon accounts for half of all sales growth of U.S.-based e-commerce. Now, there's some international competitors that are nipping at their heels and or might be bigger. I've heard Alibaba Group is actually larger now than Walmart. And Alibaba, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they made some headlines in the United States last year, I believe, with an initial public offering. It's a website that actually allows people to sell things online, companies and Chinese-based manufacturers to sell direct to consumer, as well as to sell wholesale lots of products. So I've purchased, for instance, I bought radios from Alibaba like a batch of 10 at once. And it's a huge website with a tremendous array of products available on it. So Amazon's not number one in the world, but in the United States, they're pretty dominant as far as online sales goes. Amazon's moving to consumer packaged goods gives it even more opportunity to flex its muscle with suppliers. That means giving its own products better placement on its site and undercutting competitors
that's true.
on pricing. Now, of course, one of the things that the grocery stores have been known to do is to charge for that eye-level space. So if Kellogg's on the cereal aisle, you get your Kellogg's, you get your General Mills, you got your private label from the store brand and the Malt-O-Meal bags, the sort of the average height of the human being, the human adult or whatever that is, that level of shelf.
They know which one's important, I can tell you that.
That level of shelf is the most valuable shelf in the grocery store aisle, and they will charge Kellogg's or whoever to have that preferred location. So maybe Amazon will start doing that too. Hey, you battery manufacturers, if you want to get your batteries on the first results when people search for AA batteries on Amazon, then you can pay us this amount of money, and we'll go ahead and put your products up there. Otherwise, it's going to be the Amazon brand that's the first result. Because why would Amazon want to put anyone else on top otherwise? Because they can offer their products cheaper. And what Amazon wants is when you search for a product to find the best deal. They want the best priced product to come up at the top. Sometimes you can search for something on Amazon and you'll get 30 different results for the same product because Amazon allows companies to sell through it.
Sure.
And so there may be different people that are sort of retailing these products out through
I just
Amazon.
want it sorted by Prime. It really stinks when you get this, oh, that's what I want. And then you're like, oh, no, it's not Prime. Oh, no.
Well, this is going to be Prime only, apparently, which is a surprise to me.
Well, why wouldn't it be? It's Amazon stuff.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they want to sell it to someone else? Maybe it's because it's the free shipping. Maybe the idea being that if you're buying groceries, if you've ever looked at grocery prices online, they seem expensive because you're shipping just one bag of chips. And so, you're going to pay more for the shipping than you would if you were just at Walmart or the grocery store and grabbing the bag off the rack because the company, Walmart or whoever, has shipped a box full of chips or a pallet full of product, and they've gotten shipping discounts because of that. But Amazon, maybe that's why this is Prime only, because Prime gives you free 2-day shipping, and so people won't calculate they don't have to calculate in the shipping price. They can just load up their cart, so to speak, with these consumables. And
sure.
And this will be good business for Amazon because, they sort of made their bank selling books and DVDs back in the day, which aren't consumables. You're going to buy a book, it's going to sit on your shelf. You're going to buy a DVD, it's going to sit on the shelf. This is good recurring income for Amazon to get into this business.
Yeah,
it is a smart move.
I think it's gonna. I guess it'll surprise me if food is somehow shifted over. Even the dry goods food is shifted over to Amazon. But it surprised me that they were able to, just destroy these big box stores the way they have. Right now, we do most of our shopping online through SaveItPurse.com, which uses Amazon as a fulfillment organization. And
you might also be using Amazon when you don't know it. For example, when I buy the boxes of 36 candy bars or whatever for the Slapnex store, I buy those on Amazon and then resell them. So, and in that case, you're buying 36 items, so shipping isn't that big a deal. And generally, I'll be buying many boxes at a time, like maybe 10 boxes at a time. If that all comes in one box, it's not that bad to shop.
Now, are you using Purse, or are you just doing it straight through Amazon?
When I use Amazon, I use Purse, but I also use Boxed.com, which is all wholesale, and it sometimes does better.
Sometimes cheaper.
Yep.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. We'll talk more about the plan to dominate private labeling because they've got this reordering thing that they're doing with Amazon as well. I don't know if you've seen the little button that you can push to reorder more product directly from Amazon, but they have that. That's the thing. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Amazon getting ready to get into the private label business, more so than they currently are. The story over at Recode.net, which is, I think, based on a Wall Street Journal article, but since the Wall Street Journal won't let you read their news stories without paying them, we're using the Recode version of the story here. They do point out that Amazon already has some store label, private label brands, like in the electronics realm. I've got some Amazon AA batteries sitting in a drawer over here, and they seem like a fine product. They come bulk. They're not pretty packaging. It's just a cardboard box with an Amazon label on it. You don't need fancy packaging if you're not trying to stand out from the competition at a store shelf.
Does the battery itself say Amazon on it?
I believe it does. I'll get them out for you.
Because I've seen batteries that are just like silver. You know?
No, this actually is properly branded Amazon batteries, which makes sense. Amazon wants to put their name on the products that they're putting in your home, so you'll remember where they came from. The story here from Recode.net about Amazon, we're going to continue that, and they say here that the growth in retail is all going to be online over time, and Amazon, of course, owns online in the United States. Amazon's move into
Alibaba would care to differ the rest of the world, but in the United States.
And of course, there's no lock-in online, so really they don't own anything.
Lock-in? What do you mean?
Well, basically, I mean, if you have grocery stores all over America, that's a lot of physical capital. And it's very difficult. Somebody else has to come and buy those stores or buy stores in the same location to compete with you.
True.
With internet sales, there's nothing. An internet retailer could very easily lose 2/3 of its customers in a day, or well, not in a day, but in a few weeks if something better came down the pike.
That's true, but also it gives them advantages like not having the physical capital and only having to ship out of a warehouse and not having to worry about the rent costs and all the other nonsense. The employees, because Amazon's mostly automated in their warehouses. It's almost all robot pickers that are picking and shipping and packing products to go out the door, as I understand it. I've never been on a tour.
Pretty soon it'll be robot drones delivering them.
They're working on that. The move offers Amazon the chance to pad its bottom line, something Jeff Bezos hasn't traditionally been willing or able to do. Private label brands typically carry higher profit margins, in part because the companies selling them don't put big marketing campaigns behind them. And that's true. It's always been the advertising pitch behind some of the lesser brands out there, like Malt-O-Meal cereals. That's the company that sells the cereals in a bag.
You're a big fan, I know.
I'm a huge fan of Malt-O-Meal because they've completely aped every single cereal that they're copying, basically.
I'm against cereal,
and they sell them for less. And their pitch is, hey, we don't spend money on the advertising like these other companies do, so we can pass on the savings.
I'm not a big fan of cereal, but I gotta say, if you're gonna get garbage, you might as well get
the cheaper garbage.
The cheap garbage if it's just as good as for you as the regular garbage.
I'll go ahead and say that. When I was single and I bought Fruity Pebbles, I would buy the colorful Wham Whams or whatever the hell they're called by the Malt-O-Meal.
Can't tell the difference.
No, they're the same.
The move also, let's see here. Think of the damage done. The damage already tries to do to Amazon. The damage Amazon already does to competitors at low margin business. Now imagine what happens when it starts generating real profits on stuff like cereal and soap. The move is also a way to increase the power of Amazon Prime, the $99 a year unlimited shipping program that fuels Amazon's retail growth. Prime customers spend more on Amazon than non-members and are more loyal, too. By adding another perk, Amazon can make its best customers even more loyal. There is risk here, of course. Some Amazon-branded products have already flopped, including its Amazon Element diapers, which were pulled for design flaws shortly after launch. Oops, you don't want to mess up the design on a diaper.
Yeah.
Now Amazon is selling its own brand of products that people will eat and drink. So bad experience with that stuff, let alone a safety issue, can do harm to Amazon's well-cultivated brand. But Amazon sits on so much data that it has a good chance at getting at least some of these new bets right. And as long as they pick a good manufacturer who's going to be, putting out this product, they don't really have to worry about quality issues. You just go with it.
Well, I mean, usually you would just go and see what the same manufacturer is already producing under another label.
Yes, exactly.
But then, of course, you're going to be telling them to rebalance the ingredients for your price range you want, your target.
So we mentioned that there's this service Amazon has that is allowing customers to reorder products with the push of a button. And I'm not sold on this idea. I think it seems kind of clunky. personally, but some people, are obviously excited about it. People who are super loyal to one particular brand would like this. It's the Amazon Dash button, and they're selling these tiny, they look like, I don't know, maybe the size of someone's thumb. There's like a little area that you would press with your finger, and then a little area that would contain the electronics that are in this thing. It's basically a Wi-Fi based device that is somehow preset. There's a brand on the device. So, here's one for Charmin, another one for Angel Soft, for Tide. So there's a lot of kind of laundry-based products, but there's also...
I can see how it would be convenient if you often forget to get the necessities,
Sure, if you're down in the basement doing some laundry and you think, oh, I need some more laundry detergent, but then you've forgotten that you need more laundry detergent because the phone rang, or by the time you got upstairs, the kids are yelling at you and you never really got around to reordering, and then before you know it, you're out of laundry detergent.
The way we deal with this at our house is that we have 3 in the case of laundry. So
3 boxes or 3 bottles or whatever.
Bottles is
so when
what
you're
we
on the
use.
last one,
my wife uses Purex because it's clear, and so she if she's runs out, she's got an empty bottle, right?
Time to get another.
There's
one.
2 more.
Yeah.
It's time to get another one. If she fails to do that and uses up the second bottle by
now
the
it's
time
really time to get it.
Now it's really time, and if you go through all 3, then you're just you don't care about the system anymore.
Yep, I've got a similar buffer system where I'll have 2 of things. So I'll have the toothpaste that's open, and then I'll have an extra one. And so when I crack into the extra one, that's when the next toothpaste goes on.
Yeah, I think that we had that system at one point, and then I don't tell her.
Your family grew.
Well, I just don't tell her, and I'm sure Jack doesn't tell her either, that this thing's out or that thing's out, and she's completely responsible for reordering these things, so that I can see why she would be frustrated.
So, I mean, the way Amazon pitches this, it makes it seem like it's super easy, but it's one of the objections you brought up, Mark, when we were looking at this a few moments ago off the air.
Putting it on your Wi-Fi network.
Was, look, we've got a Wi-Fi clock here in the studio, and it's an analog clock. It shows us what time. Rich, you look confused.
Why?
Why is it a Wi-Fi clock?
Why Wi-Fi?
Because atomic time. So we used to have one of the atomic time, the classic atomic time clocks, which is supposed to tune into I forget what the call letters are, but there's a certain transmitter in Colorado that transmits at like 50,000 watts or something like that on a low frequency that can kind of basically blanket the entire country with a signal. But it doesn't make it into Keene, New Hampshire, because we're in a valley. It makes it to your house, Mark, because you're not in a valley.
Only on a good day.
Oh, really? So it's still kind of iffy. So we had one of these old Wi-Fi tech clocks in here. It just never got the signal. So I looked for another solution, and there are Wi-Fi-based atomic clocks. Unfortunately, they're all analog style, so we couldn't get like a digital-looking one. So we got this old classroom-style kind of classic-looking clock in here that's actually run off of a Wi-Fi signal. But it's a pain in the butt to set it up. I mean, it doesn't have a screen on it, so you have to like put it in a certain mode, and then you got to get on your laptop, and then you've got to go to the IP address, and then you've got to go and type in your password into it and set up the network that it connects to. So do you have to go through all of that with these dash buttons? That seems like a lot of hassle.
Amazon is not the sort that would mess
that would do
up.
that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it. And maybe these things, is it possible they communicate through Bluetooth?
Possible.
Or some other, with maybe a Wi-Fi device?
Yeah. Okay, here you go.
More likely.
Yeah, your phone is what it says here.
Okay, that's it.
So it would be easier to pair it with a phone if it was Bluetooth based.
Yeah, Wi-Fi was the wrong implementation for that. I'm glad Amazon didn't go that.
It says here you have to turn both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on. Anyway, it's an interesting idea, and I'm sure it'll get better over time, but it seems clunky to have like a bunch of these little buttons because there's only one button per product around your house. It's Free Talk Live.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Do you have dry hands or itchy, peeling skin? Are your cracked feet in need of a makeover for sandal season? Hi, my name is Diane Cook, the creator of B-Spa Hand and Foot Cream. B-Spa is all natural, 16% beeswax, marigold extract, and other essential oils and nutrients. B-Spa is great for exceptionally dry hands and feet, but B-Spa can be used anywhere on the body. I am sure you will see a difference overnight. B-Spa is the only cream you will ever need. The convenient 2.5-ounce size jar travels nicely and a little goes a long way. B-Spa Hand and Foot Cream costs $29.99. Use promotion code 101 for free shipping. Order B-Spa Hand and Foot Cream today at bspa.com. That's BEESPA.com. That's BEESPA.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You join us toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username here is LRN.FM.
So you've missed the healthcare deadline and don't have any form of healthcare? Liberty HealthShare has the answer. Liberty HealthShare offers an affordable healthcare option that allows Americans to enroll any time of the year. For those of you who have already enrolled but just aren't satisfied with what you've chosen, there also is still hope. Liberty HealthShare allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their health care, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. Members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on individuals for not having health care insurance, thus giving you freedom from insurance. Liberty HealthShare empowers their members by giving them the ability to choose any doctor or hospital across the nation. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. In our family's case, from a financial standpoint, this was just a bit over half of what the insurance option was. If you're a freedom-loving American looking for contract-free health care, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll any time of the year, call 855-585-4237, 855-585-4237, or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. libertyhealthshare.org.
Let's go to the phones, to the fun. You can bring up what you want. Mark is in Salt Lake City. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Rich, and another Mark. Hello.
Hello, Ian, Rich, and Mark.
Hey there.
Hey, I wanted to talk about a conspiracy theory because I love those. I actually came up with this one myself.
Oh, good.
Back in 2012, because there was one time when I was surfing around on Facebook, and one of my Facebook friends got a hold of some documents and was put out a call to everybody else and said, "Hey, let's take a look at these documents that he got from the Electronic Frontier Foundation." And it was related to obtaining, the actual document was a Department of Justice slideshow entitled "Obtaining and Using Social Networking Evidence." And in this slideshow, it goes over all the different social networks, like how big they are, how many users they have, when they were created. And when you get to the section on Facebook, it said, it's got so many millions or billion users or whatever it is. And then at the very end, it has a little bullet point, and it says KoobFace, which is KOOBFACE.
KOOB as in boy?
Yes, it's like Facebook, except for it's like the book is backwards.
Okay.
Okay. So I was like, what the hell is this KoobFace thing, right? It says KoobFace, and then in parentheses it says virus/worm, right? And this is a Department of Justice slideshow entitled "Obtaining and Using Social Networking Evidence." So I'd never heard of this before, and so I dug into it, and I did a little research on the virus, and it's got a very interesting history. I found an article written on Sophos, which is a network security company. They have their own little blog called Naked Security, and in it they talked about the story of this one particular virus. And it's a 13-page story of the source code and all that stuff, and these guys who created the virus, they were in Russia and St. Petersburg, and their identities were exposed. They still haven't moved or been arrested. This is a virus that would do things like it would take over somebody's account and make them post fake things, that said, "Hey, check this out. I found," and so you would send the user to a link that would say you have to update your Flash player. You'd then update your Flash player, and then it would infect your virus, or it would infect your computer with this virus.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be really, really prevalent back in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
It was all over the place. And so as I was reading this article, I was like, what are the odds, considering that these guys are still free and walking around and have these brand new BMWs and Mercedes? What are the odds that this was actually a creation of one, maybe not the U.S. federal government, but maybe some federal or some government somewhere? And so I went on Facebook and I asked a question, and as soon as I did, my computer went crazy. I mean, crazy. It would I'd swipe my mouse across the screen, and all the letters would jumble up and stuff like that, and it wouldn't let me upload anything to Facebook. I was starting to send email messages to people, and they'd never get them. And so it was there was a point at which it just got so crazy I had to stop talking about it. But then it turns out The Intercept did an article on one of the Edward Snowden leaks was related to Facebook, and it says that the first time that you log into Facebook, when you sign up and log in, it actually that first time it redirects you through the National Security Agency through a fake Facebook server, and then after that first initial login, then it sends all of your it goes straight to Facebook from then on. But,
was this a recent revelation? Because I know there was a story in The Intercept recently about Edward Snowden. When was this one?
Well, this This story in The Intercept, I want to say it was probably about a year and a half ago when they released that. But when I discovered this whole Facebook thing, this was back in like 2012. It was like September 21st of 2012. I remember because that was a very memorable day in my life. And so I actually like created this idea that, hey, maybe Facebook is being used as the primary method of surveillance for the federal government. And
well, there's no doubt they're cozy with the federal government at Facebook,
and it's probably pretty effective as a form of surveillance.
I don't know if your computer going crazy just because you were posting about a virus is anything more than a coincidence. It could have been your video card was going bad or something.
Well, it wasn't just that.
The only way I can see that would be even possible would be if you were previously infected with the virus, and the virus somehow saw what you were doing and decided to show itself. But that strikes me as just astronomically unlikely.
Yeah.
I would say that...
I'm not saying it didn't happen, bro, because there's a lot of things we can't explain that happen in software.
The reason why I'm saying it's probably not just my computer is because it wasn't just on my computer. It was also on my work computer when I was on Facebook at work. It did the same thing, or it did similar things. So my suspicion is that the virus actually exists on your computer if you actually have Facebook, but it basically lies dormant. Like this virus isn't just some small virus. It has the ability, according to Sophos, it has the ability to make your computer overclock itself until it burns up.
Well, the first thing you do in diagnosing this sort of thing is see if it's repeatable. I would try posting the same text to Facebook and see if that happens again. If it does, the next step is to go to another computer that somebody else is logged into and say, hey, bro, type this, or make yourself a fake account and make the same post to Facebook and see if anything happens there.
And ideally
software
document it.
Is predictable.
Yeah, and ideally document it if you can actually show the reaction, because otherwise people just have to take your word for it.
Well, they don't, because anybody out there can create a fake account and repeat it themselves if it's duplicatable. Otherwise, you just publish it in the Journal of Irreproducible Results and move on,
which is a long journal.
Yes.
I actually did do a series of screenshots where when the things were going on, it was doing the strange things. I actually did a little print screen, saved the screenshot. I have all that stuff saved.
Were you running antivirus software at the time? I think that's an obvious question.
Yes, I was. Well, I have a Mac, and so the only one that I had available really that was free was Norton Antivirus. And I did a scan, and the scan came up clean, like just in the middle of all this craziness.
Now, is the idea that you were going through this long after this software this virus had come out, or was it like maybe right when it just came out? Because then, in theory, the virus companies wouldn't know about it.
No, the virus had actually been officially dead when I discovered this whole.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It's weird. Thank you for the call tonight, man. I do appreciate it. Good luck trying to figure that out. I mean, you can go as deep into that world as
it's a deep rabbit hole
as you want to go.
The idea of Facebook as a surveillance tool, I think, is kind of interesting. There was Captain America: Civil War's out, but the previous Captain America: Winter Soldier, the whole concept behind it was that Hydra, which was this evil organization, had infiltrated the governments of the world, specifically the United States government, but governments around the world, and with the intention of being able to create disorder in order to get order. And the way that they did it was by predicting who was going to be the revolutionaries, who's going to be the radicals.
Based on their
social media. Yeah, but all their records. And your social media would be a very easy way to decide.
It's a mineable record for sure.
Who's dangerous.
Hey, we're out of time for tonight. Check out Rich Paul online at invisiblehand.church and check us out over at freetalklive.com. We'll see you tomorrow. Online in the meantime, freetalklive.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykemortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.lrn.fm. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit the Liberty Radio Network when you shop at Amazon via shop.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is $13 higher at $1,287 per ounce, and silver is 24 cents higher at $17.40 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $456 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How can we help you? Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm. The latest edition of Lions of Liberty is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.fm. Get more at lionsofliberty.com.
Welcome to Felony Friday, a presentation of the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here is your host, John Odermatt.
Felons, friends, and freedom lovers, thank you for joining me for another episode of Felony Friday on the Lions of Liberty podcast. I'm really excited for this particular episode because my guest today is extremely passionate about shining a light on the broken criminal justice system. He's so passionate about it that he sent out a tweet rant of over 40 tweets in February that exposed a cop for lying about evidence, and then went on to explain why injustice like this is built into the system. Before I introduce my guest, I do want to quickly note where you can find the show notes for this episode. This is episode 19 of Felony Friday, so that means the show notes can be found at lionsofliberty.com/FF19. We're going to talk about a couple different articles, and I will link to them in the show notes. My guest today is Greg Doucette. Greg is a self-described computer scientist turned lawyer. He's an attorney in Durham, North Carolina, and a 2012 graduate of the North Carolina Central University School of Law. He also runs the blog titled Law Dev Null, which he began in 2009 during his time in law school. Greg made some headlines recently when he took to Twitter to share his experiences defending a young client from charges of reckless driving and uncovering the blatant lie told by a police officer. Greg has also announced recently that he is going to take his fight to the North Carolina State Senate as he is running in District 22 as a Republican. Greg, welcome to Felony Friday.
John, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you here, and I'm looking forward to getting the story behind this Twitter rant and really seeing behind the scenes what was going on in your mind as you were talking about it, and also more about the case, of course. But before we do that, I do want to talk about your background a little bit and find out why you got, first of all, how you became passionate about the law and how you became passionate about the criminal justice system. So first of all, why did you decide to become an attorney?
Well, to be honest with you, it was kind of an accident. I originally came to college to study computer science. That's what my bachelor's degree is in. But I was an out-of-state student. I grew up in Virginia Beach in a military family. I moved to North Carolina to get away from my family and attended NC State University as an out-of-state student. I was there for about 2 years, and I couldn't afford to continue. So I ended up dropping out. I was homeless for a few months, and I got back on my feet loading trucks at UPS in the middle of the night from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m., eventually got a job at a law firm as a file clerk. Because back then, I don't know how many of your readers remember back in the early 2000s, technology was really popular, but to get a job that was paying a decent salary, you had to have some kind of either degree or certification. And to get the certification, you usually had to pay for it. So I didn't have the money to do all that. Got active in the legal system to kind of pay the bills. Started out as a file clerk, became a paralegal, went on to become a clerk for the court system down in Wake County, Raleigh, North Carolina. And eventually, 5 years later, finally made my way back to college. Still determined to finish my computer science degree just so I could say that it was done, but realized that law was kind of the path that I had set myself on.
Okay, and why did you choose North Carolina Central University? I know you wrote on your blog, I've been reading your blog, that it was actually your first choice. What was your reason behind that?
Well, so there were a couple considerations to it. I had gotten very active in student government because of the fact that I was older than most of my colleagues. I had seen the system from a slightly different angle as a dropout. And when I graduated NC State, I was the president of our statewide association of student governments, which covered all 17 public universities in North Carolina. And I was running for my second term. So I needed to go to a public school to stay in office. I was either going to stay at NC State and get a PhD in economics or go to law school at either UNC Chapel Hill or North Carolina Central. And NCCU was a lot cheaper. It was half as much as UNC, which mattered to me as a guy that had dropped out before because I couldn't afford college. And the family environment at Central was a lot more nurturing. You know, the atmosphere was not as competitive. Folks kind of realized that we're all in it together, so to speak. A lot of us are going into similar professions. Central produces a lot of attorneys that go out and hang a shingle and start their own practice. So there's not as much push to be at the top of the class. You know, it's more of a push to make sure you pass the bar exam and that's it.
Okay, so can you talk about a little bit, you graduate from NCC University, about your early career path? You alluded to, a lot of people who graduated from there going out and hanging a shingle and starting their own practice. I know you have your own practice now. Did you do that right away, or did you work for a firm for a little while?
No, I started out on my own right away. I had gotten accustomed to making my own decisions, doing the student government stuff where I was the guy in charge. I didn't have to ask people permission for things. And the thought of having to do that with a boss just did not sit well with me. They say it takes a unique type of person where you're willing to work 80 hours a week in order to avoid a 40-hour-a-week job. And that was my personality. So I ended up passing the bar exam. I found out the last week in August. I got sworn in the first week in September. And the Monday after that, I was in court with the client and kind of building my practice from there. So that's kind of how we've gone. We've now got to the point where we've got 2 offices, one here in Durham and another down in Charlotte. I have 2 attorneys that work for me, and I love most every minute of it.
Well, that's fantastic. What type of law do you specialize in?
Well, what we do is we focus on people that are trying to essentially get through life. You know what I mean? So about half of it focuses on small business owners or people that want to start a small business. A lot of those folks honestly tend to be people with a criminal record that have a hard time getting a job. And we try and find some way where they can make a living and support their family without going back to doing something criminal. And we do a lot of work with students. North Carolina is one of the only states in the country that automatically treats every 16 and 17-year-old charged with a crime as an adult. So stuff that when I was in high school might have gotten me detention nowadays can get you an adult criminal charge in the Durham system. And that's going to affect you when you end up applying to college or trying to get a job years down the road. So I'm a glorified criminal defense attorney, but it just happens most of my clients tend to be young people that have made bad decisions, and we try and help them minimize the negative impacts of that long term.
Is there a certain case that you've done recently that comes to mind for a 17-year-old or a young person that comes to mind where it potentially could have ruined their life and you were able to help them out?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I had a young man who was 17 in high school. And in North Carolina, when you're trying to drive, we've got this graduated permitting system where you can get a permit that enables you to do some things. As long as you can go 6 months without an issue, you get an upgrade. 6 more months, you get an upgrade. And then eventually you get your full license. And this young man had been driving the family car through his neighborhood the morning before they were going to church on a Sunday. And according to him, as he was driving back, a cat came out of the road. He slammed on the brakes, trying to not hit the cat, and in the process, the car spun out. Well, one of the neighbors apparently called police, told the police officer that he saw this young man doing donuts in the street. The officer came out to the scene, eventually found my 17-year-old at his house, talked to him and his mom and said, I saw the skid marks. It was obvious you were doing donuts. I could arrest you right here on the spot. Be thankful that I'm only giving you a citation. And the young man said, well, hey, that didn't happen. Talk to the neighbor's daughter. She was outside and she saw it. And the officer goes, I'm not going to take the words of 2 teenagers over some adults. Gave my guy a citation for reckless driving to endanger, which in North Carolina is a class 2 misdemeanor that could actually land you up to 60 days in jail, depending on your record. So luckily for the young man, his mom did not believe the officer, didn't think that her baby would do that sort of thing, and went out to the scene and took a bunch of pictures.
Let me just jump in real quick. Was there any other reason why the mother wouldn't have believed the officer other than just because she was trusting her son's story? Was there something else that she knew?
I wouldn't be surprised if race was a factor as well. We have issues in North Carolina with disproportionate policing of people of color. For example, here in Durham, there was just a report released about 2 weeks ago where the city had commissioned RTI International, which is this group of very smart people that analyze stuff. And they found that the Durham police force was deliberately targeting people of color. That you had a situation where what they called a veil of darkness happened, where at night it wasn't as pronounced because you couldn't see the race of the people being stopped. But during the day, they were deliberately targeting minorities. My 17-year-old client in this case was a black kid. The neighbors were white. The officer was white. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if race was kind of an issue there. It's hit the point where you kind of see it in the news regularly that this is an ongoing problem, not just here in North Carolina, but across the country.
The story that Greg is talking about here, if you guys aren't familiar with it, Greg had an epic Twitter rant. And I hate using the word epic, but it was. That's the only word to describe it. It's phenomenal. I will link to it in the show notes. And, I'm not going to ask him to read through it here. I'm not going to read through it here. But there might be some things that I'll quote later that were just extraordinary. One thing I did want to ask you about, so did this go all the way to court, or were you able to get these charges removed from court? And also, can you talk about, you said the mother did take pictures. Talk about that process of going through the pictures and that moment when you saw the picture that proved the officer was lying.
Yep. Well, I'm going to hit that in reverse order. So mom took a bunch of pictures and gave them to me. I ended up bringing her and her son to my office to talk. And, the mom was a lot like my mom, very protective of her son, nagged a lot. So while she was here in the room, her son didn't say a word. Like, he just kept looking down. I took her phone, transferred stuff to my computer, and said, Mom, step outside for a little bit. And I talked with the kid, and he ended up, breaking down in tears, talking about he just didn't want to hit the cat. So it was at that point where it kind of realized, okay, maybe he's actually telling me the truth. This isn't just some kind of story that, folks make up. So I was going through the pictures, and a lot of them aren't terribly useful. A lot of folks take a lot of pictures of things that they think are important, but from the standpoint of a lawyer, might not matter. But the part that really struck me was there were 4 different pictures of the roadway. And looking at the skid marks, it's obvious there were no donuts at all. Looking at the width of the roadway, it's not even physically possible to have done a donut. And looking at the size of the skid marks, it's obvious that the guy was doing the speed limit. The speed limit was 25 miles an hour. The skid marks were about 28 feet in length, give or take. That's similar to someone doing 25 miles an hour and abruptly slamming on the brakes. So we took that and went to the court. And what they do in Wake County is every file has its own shuck. It's basically the court file where there's the citation. It talks about the location where it happened and the time. And the cool part about the pictures, and this is something that, some of your readers may not know about, most smartphones have what are called EXIF, E-X-I-F, metadata on pictures. Things like the timestamp, the latitude and longitude of where it was taken, stuff like that. And using that data, I could tell from the mom's phone that the pictures were taken right after the officer had left, right at the location where the officer had said the incident allegedly took place.
That's something that you were able to extract yourself, or did you take that to somebody to work?
Well, I could do it on my own because I got that computer science background, so I kind of knew how it worked. But there are plenty of EXIF viewers that you can get from, the iTunes store if you're an Apple user, the Google store if you use something else. It's something where it's very common and used by a lot of different apps. So using that information,